off of the prizes. Sakuya drawing for turn after promoting the Fluttermane is going to kick it off with that Pokestop. Hey, Pokestop to draw three cards. That in also and waste away with me. Prize cards. Move around a little bit. Talk about how they're at the top of the prizes. Have to see how these are rearranged when Sakuya places them back out.
Yeah, no surprises here. We're going to give the prizes a bit of a shuffle, a bit of a cut. And yeah, this could actually prove crucial for Sakuya, allowing him to unlock some of those energies earlier than before.
Prize cards being placed. Get an update shortly. Now, the only thing Sakuya is missing to get off and attack this turn is an energy card on the active Roaring Moon. And I think he should have an energy card already in hand from last turn, right, with the Earthen Vessel. You have to balance, though. When do you want to go for the just basic energy attachment, and when do you want to go for the Professor Sada's Vitality? And it looks like Sakuya is digging for that supporter card with this Pokegear 3.0. 7 cards from the top. Is there a Sada? And yes, there is.
Sada, very crucial, will allow Sakuya to establish 2 threats at once, or maybe there's only 1 darkness energy in the discard pile for now, but still getting close to powering up 2 Roaring Moons. Sakuya needs that vengeance fletching to happen turn after turn, because I don't think there's quite enough ancient cards here to get a knockout, a 1-hit KO yet.
Yeah, we don't exactly know what the count is, but it's certainly going to be setting up for a 2-hit knockout, I would imagine, at this point. And it looks like Sakuya recognizing I would like to get full value from my Professor Sada's Vitality. Let's start this turn with that Explorer's Guidance. And you only get to keep 2 of these cards, and there are quite a few strong ones that were found.
A lot of really good cards. Professor Sada's Vitality, Pokestop, all of them very, very crucial. I think Sakuya knows at this point that there is a Lost City in Logan's hand, so he might have to prioritize that so he doesn't run out of Roaring Moons overall. But it is a very difficult choice because you really need those Professor Sadas to help you out. So I think he kept the Pokestop and one of the Sadas he found.
The Pal Pad going down is something to keep track of. Sakuya is playing 2 copies of the Pal Pad, so something he can get back later on. The only other thing I think Sakuya would like to see here would be an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. I know a couple of them have hit the discard pile already, and I'm not sure I see one in the hand. That would allow this Roaring Moon to withstand an attack from the Iron Thorns EX.
That's a lot of ancient cards already in Sakuya's discard pile, honestly. I think it was a little bit over 10, perhaps, and the Defiance Band could be huge.
It's a knockout. Sakuya with enough ancient cards in the discard pile combined with the Defiance Band is able to reach for the early 1-hit KO. That is a massive swing in this match in Sakuya's favor.
Wow. On turn 2, you're not expecting to deal that much damage, but keeping the Pokestop in play, those good hits, those crucial Explorer's Guidance was able to build up to just enough and finding the copy of the Defiance Band. But Logan seems like he'll be able to respond. Does choose to play a Pokegear, does find a Professor's Research. He does have the knockout pretty well set up and does know that there's quite a lot of good cards in Sakuya's hand right now.
Yeah, is going to have the response KO more than likely. Did he find that tool card just yet? The Future Booster Energy Capsule?
I don't think he did.
Yeah, that's a big part of this here. Volt Cyclone deals 140 damage, but with the double turbo energy, it is reduced by 20. You can normally get around that with the Future Booster Energy Capsule. Attaching that does boost the damage by 20, effectively canceling out that double turbo energy damage reduction, but we do not see the tool card just yet.
We're going to see a Research hoping to find it to get this return KO. Now, of course, the Defiance Band is no longer working because Sakuya is now ahead in the prize cards. But big 7 cards here. Can he find it? Yes, there it is.
Does find the Future Booster Energy Capsule. Also has that Lost City in play now. That will send this Roaring Moon to the Lost Zone as opposed to the discard pile. Will not fuel the next attacker. Huge hit there for Logan Bailey, making sure that he can keep up the pace here. This is what he's going to need to do if he wants to come away with the win. Sakuya Ota already jumping ahead in the prize trade. Now Logan tying it up. 2 prizes taken for each of these players. What does Sakuya have to start the turn? Needs to find Professor Sada's Vitality and a Darkness Energy, and it looks like he's already got both.
Has both, has a Nest Ball to establish another Roaring Moon. Can he get 3 more cards, or perhaps doesn't need that many to get to the knockout? We know he dealt 230 damage last time around, right? So he's doing at least 200 because of the Defiance Band.
Yes.
The Zara will be 210 perhaps. Can he get 2 more cards, or was he dealing 210? We'll find out very soon, but this could be another backup knockout for Sakuya in this turn.
Plenty of cards to work with in the hand. We know the pieces to at least pull off the attack are here, and it looks like the replacement stadium is here as well. Pokestop will flip the top 3 cards of the deck, discarding them. Any item cards go into the hand. Pokestop down,
sleep until
Ultra Ball,
morning.
and the Sada hits the discard pile. Not a card Sakuya would like to see go down. Does have at least 1 Pal Pad remaining to try to bring those back. And here we go. Speaking of bringing back, here come 2 energy cards. 3 cards now drawn from the top of the deck. I think Sakuya would definitely like to find that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, and it looks like there are a pair of Ancient cards in the hand that can be discarded with the Ultra Ball. This will mean Sakuya will take 2 prize cards this turn.
Yep, has the energy now, certainly has enough after this Sada, after this Ultra Ball. Also has brought out that Greninja, probably just to thin. It might be the last Pokemon left in his deck. There might not be another Roaring Moon, or he might already have it in his hand, but does have everything he needs and a lot of pressure over on Logan's side.
This is massive for Sakuya because not only will this lead to the KO, he also will take prize cards. It will lead to a Night Stretcher being taken. That will be a way to recover a Roaring Moon if he ends up needing it. But I guess at this point, he really does only need these 2 Roaring Moons. Those are the only Pokemon he needs to close out this game. He just needs to make sure that he can get the necessary energy onto each of these Pokemon.
Yeah, 1 energy missing from the bench. Roaring Moon is all it will take, and putting these 2 Professor Sazvitalt in the deck with a second copy of Palpad, which I don't think is very common in the usual Ancient Box decks we are used to seeing, but coming in super crucial. There are not a lot of cards left in Sakuya's deck here.
Sakuya was not messing around with Pokestop when it comes to this event. He knew that he was going to be using the Pokestop and probably discarding some supporter cards, so wanted to make sure that with the pair of Palpad, it would never be something that hindered him. And he is certainly not going to be hindered at this point. Sakuya's going to jump very far ahead in this game with this upcoming KO.
The icing on the cake here for Sakuya is the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule that you mentioned, Chip. I don't know if he has it.
And they have nothing for benches.
That would put the Roaring Moon
on
out of range. That would force Logan to find a...
Oh, here we go. Energy card. Vengeance Fletching. 1-hit knockout. Iron Thorns hits the discard pile. And Logan Bailey needs to find a way to take 4 prizes before his opponent takes just 1 more knockout. What does Logan Bailey need to find in this situation to fight back in this game?
It could come down to a Crushing Hammer hands flip. Logan needs, first of all, the Capsule and the Lightning to take down the active, but then he also needs a Crushing Hammer to take away this energy to really increase his chances of winning. Does have an Iono in hand. Will go for this Pokegear, perhaps looking for an Arvin to try to secure this knockout, or potentially a Colress's Tenacity to get the stadium and guarantee the energy. Doesn't seem happy about the results here, so...
Yeah, it does hit the Colress, but I wonder if Logan needed more. Does he need to also disrupt and also find the Crushing Hammer? Needs to find the Future Booster Energy Capsule, needs to find all of these pieces. And Colress's Tenacity, while it is very strong in this specific deck, it very often gets you the 2 cards you need. In this spot, it just would not be enough.
And the stadium, of course, crucial to get rid of this Pokestop, which has done so much for Sakuya this game.
We're big flip right here on this Crushing Hammer. Heads, and that energy card from Sakuya will hit the discard pile. Tails, and this will be really difficult. Logan would need to find another Crushing Hammer and try again. Let's see the flip. What's the result? Off the table. Got to roll it one more time. Of course, the evens are heads, tails are odds. Here's the flip, and it's a tails.
No energy denied so far. I think it's gonna come down to an Iono, Chip. This Iono is huge. Needs to find at the very least the Future Energy Capsule. If that's not found, the game is over and Sakuya will win game 1. 5 crucial cards, Chip. 4 crucial cards.
Yeah,
pardon me.
only 4
crucial
cards. And honestly, that one card, while it would keep you in the game, it may not be enough. That is at a minimum, though, what Logan needs. Let's see these 4 cards. Is there a future booster energy capsule? If not, this game is over, and I don't see it.
No way to knock out this Roaring Moon, which we know is doing enough damage. I think we're heading to game 2, Chip.
Yep, and that is going to be the attack. And Sakuya, all he has to do is announce his attack on his turn. Sakuya Ota winning game 1 of our Junior Division Finals.
Back and forth game, Sakuya, everything flowed, right? Everything flowed well. I think a big thing that happened in this game was that Pokestop staying for a little bit too long. Logan had the chance to counter it immediately, combined with that Judge to hopefully slow down Sakuya, but he chose to conserve the resource, perhaps realizing that one of his lost CDs was in the prizes, so trying to time them perfectly. But in the end, all those extra resources from the Pokestop, plus building up the discard pile, proved to be too much for Logan's deck to handle.
It did prove to be too much. I mean, Logan had a solid start, got the first attack off, right? Taking that 1 prize KO on that Flutter main. But Sakuya, for his very first attack, was able to reach for a 1-hit KO with the Defiance Band. Not a card we see all that often in these Ancient Box lists. It pays off massively in this final match. And it was allowing Sakuya to reach for a knockout a turn earlier than he maybe would have been able to otherwise. If you, as the Ancient Box player, can just attack 3 times to win, you know, get to that point where your first attack is for a 1-hit KO, this feels like a pretty good matchup. Logan's going to have to limit Sakuya a little bit more if he wants to fight back in this final set.
Yeah, it didn't feel like Sakuya was disrupted at all, right? It's just he was able to, within the course of 2 turns, build up the discard pile. The Crushing Hammer head flip didn't affect at all. Even the Dark Patch discard didn't come down to anything because we didn't get to a late game point where Sakuya was struggling to establish threats. It was pretty straightforward, establish my Roaring Moons, use my Pokestop a lot, and get going.
Sakuya's father in the crowd with the biggest smile on his face. So proud of his son in this spot, getting to this point, but can't get comfortable yet. It's not over, and your opponent's deck is the one that you have to make sure you are respecting the most at this point. You don't want to get in your own head and get too excited about being up a game. It's still anyone's set to take.
Yep, never know what can happen in the game of Pokemon. So much variance, so many things happening as we do see the first mulligan over on Logan's side. No mulligan for Sakuya this time around, ready to go with his basic Pokemon in the active spot. So how many do we expect? What's your guess, Chip?
What's my guess? I'm going to go with 3 mulligans. I think that'd be reasonable.
That seems like on average, I think that's what you can sort of expect with Iron Thorn. Sometimes it's a lot more, sometimes it's 0, right? As we saw in the previous game. But that is one of the risks, if you will, when you're choosing to play Iron Thorn CX. Sometimes you just give out too many mulligans because 4 basic Pokemon is not a lot.
You know what I'm really rooting for, though, Pablo? Judge enforced progression. It's something that'll happen sometimes with these decks that play very low amounts of basic Pokemon. If you mulligan a few too many times, you know, this is a timed match. We got to keep the match rolling. Every once in a while, you know, if 6, 7, 8, 9 mulligans are taken, we will enact Judge Enforced Progression, where a judge will flip over cards from the top of your deck until a basic Pokemon is revealed. That basic Pokemon is placed as your active, and then you draw a new 6-card hand. I've seen it happen at a regional championships before. I'm just saying, it was at table 1 in round 9, so how about having it happen in the World's Finals?
What was the matchup at that point?
Stonejourner VMAX.
Oh, okay. I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Similar style to this current deck, right? But Logan finds the basic Pokemon, only 1 mulligan given away. I can see that both players are being very careful, right? I can tell that they're first time on stream, they're being very careful, being very clear with each other. There's also a potential language barrier between the two, but of course Pokemon is a perfect common language for both of them.
Yeah, they both speak the trading card game language very clearly, and it does look like Logan was able to find a basic Pokemon. No Judge Enforced Progression today. Just an attachment of an energy and a pass. It might seem like an underwhelming turn, but honestly for Logan, he's totally fine with that. That's the bare minimum what he needs.
And now we are seeing the prizes for both players. Professor Styles Vitality crucially priced for Sakuya does seem like they're gonna get shuffled right now, so Sakuya will find out immediately what he prized. Nothing super crucial in terms of Pokemon. That Professor Sal's Vitality, less than ideal, but I think he'd rather that than so many energies like last time.
And it was that Roaring Moon as the initial starter. We could see a quick turn 1 attack. I would say it's pretty unlikely that we see a win here. I don't even know if it would be possible to get that many ancient cards in the discard pile. But with that energy card already going down from the Earthen Vessel, if Sakuya is holding on to a Professor Sada's Vitality, we could see a little poke here with the Vengeance Fletching.
Yeah, I mean, and any little bit of extra damage is useful. However, you know your Roaring Moon is likely gonna go down, right? Now, we have talked about how powerful Iron Thorn is, but what isn't too powerful is that Volt Cyclone, right? It does 140 damage. The double turbo usually tends to reduce, well, it always reduces the damage by 20, and 120 is not enough to hit those Roaring Moon for 1 KO. So finding booster energy capsules for all his attackers will be very crucial for Logan, and one of them was prized along with his A spec.
We do see Professor Sada's Vitality being played. That will attach the Darkness Energy from the discard pile to the active Ancient Roaring Moon EX. Looks like we are having another sleeve that was broken here. Need to have it replaced.
Saskatchewan's far north is where
One
land
thing that
and
Sakuya
water
is missing
intertwine,
at this point,
where
I will
nature looms
say,
large.
is another
Ladies and
basic
gentlemen, you can now
Pokemon.
use
Yeah.
fast
His deck
travel
does
on
not
LEGO
play that many
Fortnite. In
basic
this video,
Pokemon, and really not that many ways to find it, all
that you
things
will need
considered,
in order
right?
to
Has
fast
4
travel.
Nest Ball,
If you're in a
has,
survival world and you
a
have
bunch
a
of different
village that
basics,
is near level
12 different
10,
basic
then
Pokemon
the first bus
in the
station
deck,
is
and
most
then one
likely
single
going to be
copy of
very
Ultra
close
Ball.
to your village.
Sakuya
It's going to
will
make a
need
very
to find another
distinctive
basic
sound,
Pokemon,
and
otherwise
it
that
also
could
has a blue
open up
light
Logan Bailey
emanating from
to
the
take
top, which
the
will make it
only
easier
KO
to spot.
necessary to move
Once
us
you go
into
over
a
to the
game
bus
3.
station, you'll find
Yeah, that would
Triceratops,
be
and she can
a
give you a bit
harsh
more
way
information
to
on how
end
you
the
can build
game
one
too, right?
and how
Getting
you can destroy one.
benched
If you
out,
want to
but
relocate your
I
bus
mean,
station, you first
despite
need to
having a lot
destroy
of
it.
outs, right? The 12 basic Pokemon you mentioned, the 4 Nest Ball, the single copy of Ultra Ball, maybe even Sakuya was hoping to have a Pokemon prize, right? So that Hisuian Heavy Ball could find him something. So if he doesn't have any other way, these 3 cards from Professor Sada's Vitality could be huge, Chip.
It looks like it is a sleeve being split. Maybe, a little advice given to Sakuya here on, shuffling the deck at this point, trying not to damage the sleeves any further so we don't have any more delays. Head judge at the table there, Bobby Clark, speaking with the translator, making sure Sakuya understands the whole situation. And we'll hopefully get back into this game very soon. Nothing wrong done by either of the players at this point, just kind of a more procedural thing.
Yeah, I mean, after, as you mentioned, grueling 3 days battling against the top players of the world, you can run into these sort of issues, and it's always important to be very thorough with your shuffling, but also crucial to be careful so that these leaf splits don't happen too often, and we're not playing with any marked cards whatsoever.
So actually, I think the issue may be that there are not any replacement sleeves at the moment. We may have run out of replacement sleeves. I think they've got things sorted. Sometimes what you'll see in these situations is, a sleeve swapped with one of the prize cards here that will be taken later on. And let's see the draw. Is there an out to another basic Pokemon here, Pablo?
I think he found a Fluttermane, perhaps. Does still have the Pokestop to search for Nest Balls. I think he might have drawn a Fluttermane, but of course not looking to bench that. And there's a Nest Ball, crucially.
Huge, absolutely. That will grab another Roaring Moon from the deck, put it directly onto the bench. Something Sakuya needed at this point. It wasn't guaranteed Logan would get the KO. He would have needed to find the future booster energy capsule, but that is a 4-of copy in his deck. Also would have needed to find a basic lightning energy, and I'm sure Sakuya would prefer this situation here of ensuring that he will not lose the game next turn.
Yeah, now both players on the edge, right? Because Logan right now, I couldn't see if there was an Arven in his hand. I don't believe so, so doesn't have the knockout yet. Double True allows you to attack faster, but does come at a cost. And we're going to see Sakuya get the first attack of 90 damage with Vengeance Fletching. Potentially setting up a decent KO next turn if he's able to find another Professor Sada's, or if the Roaring one simply survives by the lack of the boost in damage.
Logan does already have an energy card in hand, does just need that future booster energy capsule in order to get the KO. Does not have it in hand at the moment. Looks like a Pokegear will be the play, perhaps looking for an Arven to guarantee that supporter card. Arven could also get the Techno Radar to establish another Pokemon on the bench. There's that Techno Radar, but no Arven is found. It's just a Judge as the supporter choice from that Pokegear 3.0. We may just see Logan add this to the hand. I actually think there is another Pokegear. He may search once again. I think Arvin would be the best supporter to play right now.
Arvin would be fantastic, finding that Techno Raider, finding the tool to get the knockout. Now, if your opponent does knock you out once again, finding another tool could be problematic. We do know that one is prized, does play 4 copies, but they're so important now. Big Pokegear happening here. Can he find the chip?
Let's see, 7 cards from the top. Any supporter can be added to the hand, looking specifically for the Arvin. Let's take a look. Does he find it? Iono, Boss, and Colress. No, Arvin is found. It may come down to an Iono play here, most likely.
Wow, and I mean, now Logan at risk of the very same thing that Sakuya was in risk. Logan doesn't have any backup Iron Thorns right now. Only plays 4 Pokemon total. One of them is prized. 1 Techno Raider is prized. That only leaves 1 more Techno Raider and 2 Iron Thorns EX in the deck. Could try to use the Pokestop in order to help him find the Techno Raider, but there's not much else, right? Because it doesn't help him find the booster capsule. Big Crushing Hammerhead.
Nope. It is a Tails, and that is really not the time Logan would even want to use the Crushing Hammer. He'd love to use it to get rid of an energy on a benched Pokemon, since he's hoping to knock this Pokemon out anyway. And it actually does look like Logan is going to be able to go for the Professor's Research. That was hiding in the hand there. Thought it was going to be an Iono, but no. Research will discard this hand, draw 7 fresh new cards. Needs to find a basic Pokemon and that future booster energy capsule. Can dig with the Pokestop if necessary. I think he would like to hold off if he could. His deck plays tons of supporter cards, tons of energy that he would not really ideally like to mill. Here we go, 7 cards. Is there an out to a basic Pokemon? There is the Iron Thorns, but there is no future booster energy capsule. It might come down to another hammer here. Is it worth it for Logan to play that card?
That is a very good question, Chip. You can potentially slow down your opponent. You know they...
Oh, another Tails. That's 3 Tails for Logan Bailey so far in this final match. 2 in this game.
Chooses not to use the Lost Vacuum to get rid of the Pokestop. Research, things not looking good here for our Iron Thorns EX hero.
No, Sakuya does need to find a way to get a few more ancient cards in the discard pile. Pokestop could perhaps be a good way to do that, as an Explorer's Guidance goes down. The best ball is drawn, as well as the Counter Catcher. Does have Darkness Energies in hand, has another Explorer's Guidance here. Shooting things up, should be 3 in the discard pile now, 4 with the played Explorer's Guidance.
Beat me to it, Chip. And there's 3 in there, right?
And he's got that Earthen Vessel, so if there is 1 ancient card in the hand, I think Sakuya should be able to pull this off. It will mean discarding a Roaring Moon, but like we've mentioned earlier, Sakuya playing the 2 copies of the Night Stretcher has ways to get those Pokemon back, and potentially will only need 2 more Roaring Moons to finish out the game outside of the one thing
What the fuck did it just say happened?
Yeah, the only thing that would potentially stop that is a Lost City, which hasn't been played yet and is also not in the hand, so things are looking great for Sakuya. And I mean, on paper, this is a very tough matchup, right? Your whole idea of stopping rule box abilities, as they're so powerful. This is the one deck that generally does not rely at all on rule box abilities.
So we'll see an attachment for the turn to the bench. Roaring Moon, preparing that to be an attacker in the future. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule being attached as well. How many ancient cards are there? Is it enough for the KO?
Is that 7 cards? And that should be enough.
140 damage, exactly the perfect math for Sakuya to take the first knockout and the first 2 prizes in this game.
Logan needs to make something happen here. He doesn't need the booster capsule anymore to get this KO. Doesn't have a lightning energy right now, though. Only has the double turbo.
Will be Colress's Tenacity in order to guarantee the energy attachment. Basic lightning energy can be found here, as well as the Lost City. That will be pretty strong. Send this Roaring Moon to the Lost Zone. Also, that future booster energy capsule on the bench could be gotten rid of with a Lost Vacuum at some point. Perhaps why we didn't see Lost Vacuum getting rid of Pokestop on the last turn, wanting to ensure that, hey, I need to make sure I'm taking out those Roaring Moons every single time one is attacking into me.
Now we know there's exactly 7 ancient cards in the discard pile. Getting 16 to get this next knockout. Could be as deep as for Sakuya this next turn. So Logan might get one chill turn finally where he doesn't need to worry about finding too many things, but then the pressure is going to be on him once again.
This is what Logan needs to do, send this Roaring Moon to the Lost Zone. It's going to do a few things right. It limits the number of ancient cards in the discard pile. And we do need to make sure that Roaring Moon goes to the Lost Zone. Yeah, Logan is very much on top of that. I do not want you to have that card in the discard pile. And it's also a card he will not now be able to recover with that Night Stretcher. Will not be another attacking option. Sakuya with a Darkness Energy already on the Roaring Moon. This is pretty nice. Can play an Explorer's Guidance this turn. Is not even forced to necessarily play Sada's Vitality, but with this Nest Ball, if it grabs another Roaring Moon, Sada's Vitality is actually a pretty solid option.
Yeah, leaving the backup Roaring Moon ready to go. You have an energy in your hand. You could leave both Roaring Moons ready to go so that even if you have a 0-card hand, you just get an attack going no matter what, setting up the potential 2-hit KO on the Iron Thorn. So a lot of pressure on Logan to also find another Iron Thorns this coming turn.
There's the Sada, 2 energies attached, 3 cards now drawn. Looks like Superior Energy Retrieval is in the hand. That's a way that you can discard a few ancient cards. Pokestop does bump the Stadium and also will be used. There's the Defiance Band going down, Pal Pad and the Nest Ball added to the hand. So now maybe like 9 ancient cards in the discard pile.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Don't think Sakuya is going to be able to get to 6 more, 16 total needed.
Such a threat at the board though. 2 Roaring Moons fully powered up. You really don't need much help. You're fine with the 2-hit KO. You've seen that Logan is struggling to get a knockout at this point in time. I think it's 9 I saw. Not 100% sure, but it's not going to be enough to 1 KO. It's going to be setting up the perfect 2-hit KO. And Logan will need to find Crushing Hammers and potentially more than his current Lost Vacuum if he wants to get back-to-back knockouts along with another Iron Thorn. That's a lot of cards he needs at this point in time.
He needs to find them very, very soon. Lost Vacuum in the hand is nice. That will get rid of the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule on the active, and the Arven can guarantee future Booster Energy Capsule is found on Logan's side to shore up the KO. Like to find the replacement Stadium if he could. Love to find some Crushing Hammers at some point, but priority number 1 is finding another Iron Thorns EX.
Yeah. Oh, I think he took the one from the prize cards actually.
Yeah, that's
he
great.
Has that already in the hand. That's why we're seeing this Crushing Hammer, but Sakuya's hand is huge. You have to imagine there's another energy right there.
Indeed, the Iron Thorns was taken off of the prize cards. Logan is able to use this Arven for the Crushing Hammer. Could be a pretty impactful flip here. It looks like it will just be the one Crushing Hammer. I don't see another one in the hand. Here we go. Logan would really like to see this in order to keep himself in this game. We've got dice flying all over the place. Here comes the next flip. And it is off the table
off the
again.
Table again. I mean, we do have enough die to where this shouldn't be a problem, but yeah, it's funny. A lot of energy happening here. No!
And Sakuya stops it, and it does land on a tails.
We're having a reflip of the interruption.
And it's a heads. Logan
there we
able
go.
to finally get a heads here in this second game. More movement energy from Sakuya.
Right. Energy removed. Knockout taken through the use of the Lost Vacuum. Logan waiting for the perfect timing on the charge as well. We're going to see the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule hit the Lost Zone instead of the Disco Ball, therefore not adding to the damage that Vengeance Fletching will do.
The attachment of the double turbo energy to the benched Iron Thorns is nice as well. Logan Bailey able to take another prize card, does tie up the race. Both players with 4 prizes remaining. Does Sakuya have the energy to respond here? Can he establish another Roaring Moon on the bench? Looks like it will be Pokestop discarding a Flutter Mane and also a Pokestop, adding an Earthen Vessel, I believe it was, to the hand. Now a Nest Ball being played. Is that last Roaring Moon in the deck? No.
Oh, Roaring Moon right here. I think there's 2 in the discard, and there's 1 in the Lost Zone. So 1 Roaring Moon left, which is really difficult to take down right now thanks to that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule.
And Sakuya has still prized one Night Stretcher. He is going to need to find another Night Stretcher. Does at least guarantee the attack this turn with this Sada's Vitality found from the Pokegear 3.0. I think the question is just going to be, can Sakuya draw into that one Night Stretcher that is left in the deck? Does he have it in his hand? He's got a lot of cards, that is for sure.
Yeah, so many card chip. I mean, I think at this point, you could even consider benching a Flutter Mane to attach to it perhaps, but Sakuya just going for it, attaching the 3 energies. Does find the Night Stretcher off of the Sada's Vitality.
Wow, that is massive. And, yeah, while you could bench a Flutter Mane if you needed to, Roaring Moon is definitely the better target. Sakuya able to find it, and even finds a Dark Patch to prep an energy on it. Can attach an energy, I believe, for turn as well to fully power this Pokemon up. Looks like there's none left in the deck. Is there one in the hand?
There likely is. There aren't any prize. There should be perhaps one left over or a few more in the hand. This is probably also adding to the ancient card count in the discard pile to make sure that you are able to 1-KO the next and final Iron Thorn.
Superior Energy Retrieval puts a few more ancient cards in the discard pile, also gets back the energy card, thins out some cards that Sakuya would not want to draw off of something like a Judge. That could be one of Logan's few paths back into this game. Sakuya certainly in the driver's seat right now, but it is far from over. Still could be anyone's game to take. Sakuya has set up the end game. Can Logan find the response? It may come down to that final crushing hammer. 2 prizes left for Sakuya. What will Logan Bailey do?
I just counted 14 ancient cards in Sakuya's discard pile. So Lost City top deck for Logan. Pretty good card to find. Crucially needs Lost Vacuum to make sure that these 2 cards, well, that he gets a knockout and
Going
also
for the Pokestop here. Gets rid of a future booster capsule and an energy and an Arven.
No, Boosters down to help him. It's gonna come down to this Judge at this point in time. 4 crucial cards. Needs 2 very specific ones. Ancient Booster Energy Capsule and the last copy of Lost Vacuum to even try to stay in this game.
4 cards and 2 specific ones needed. There is also a future booster energy capsule in the prize cards still. I think one was milled from an earlier Pokestop, so there may only be 1 future booster energy capsule left in the deck.
Not great odds here for Logan. Big 4 cards. Not out of it yet, right? But then off of 4 cards, Sakuya would only need to find 2 ancient cards in the discard pile to then get the clean KO with Vengeance Fletching. Let's see what these 4 cards are, Chip.
Lost Vacuum and the future booster energy capsule. What does he have? There's the future booster energy capsule, but no Lost Vacuum.
All of Vacuum, 3 supporters, which are great cards, but not very useful right now. No, there's no KO.
It doesn't even get the knockout, yeah.
140, yep.
140 damage will be placed on this Roaring Moon. Sakuya was ready to start playing quickly, so he may think he's got it. We may have to get a count of the ancient cards in the discard pile. Like we mentioned earlier, we'll need 16. You said you counted 14 at the end of last turn.
14, so...
Can he discard 2 more ancient cards? There's a future booster energy capsule.
I don't think he can. I think I saw energies, another capsule, and a Greninja, so might just see Logan survive for 1 more turn.
Did he just attack? I think he may have just attacked,
210 damage off that Vengeance.
Whoa, hold on. Logan Bailey could win the game this turn. If Sakuya just attacked, Logan Bailey has a chance to win. If he finds Lost Vacuum, he'll knock out the active Pokemon by sending that tool card to the Lost Zone. Sakuya would be forced to send up his only Pokemon in play, which cannot withstand a hit from the Iron Thorns EX. This is a massive opening. Logan Bailey given a second chance here.
That would be crazy, Chip. I think I saw an Arven in Logan's hand. This could be possible.
If he's got an Arven, it's just the game.
I think so. I think it was 2 Ionos and 1 Arven.
If he's got Arven, that can find the Lost Vacuum. That would win Logan Bailey this game. Let's see the draw for turn.
Yeah, there's the Arven.
There is the Arven. And the top deck is the Lost Vacuum. That gets rid of the tool card. That Roaring Moon goes down. The other one is promoted. Wow. Logan Bailey takes the KO. We're going to game 3.
And Sakuya had an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule in his hand. I think he got a little bit ahead of himself. Did not KO. perhaps got him a little confused, and Logan Bailey gets this game 2 against all odds.
Oh my goodness. From the depths of defeat, Logan Bailey is able to claw back, catches quite a break there. Wow, Sakuya, like you said, had that Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, could have placed it on the bench. Roaring Moon thought that it was not necessary. And Logan Bailey finds a way to send us to a game 3.
And the top deck, the Lost Vacuum top deck, right? The deck saying, hey, here you go. You don't need to search for this card.
Just in case Logan didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arvin is there. Nope, yep, we'll just top deck the Lost Vacuum. Wow, what a play. What an exciting moment. This is what the World Championships are all about. Let's see a replay of that exciting game number 2.
Saw Sakuya start off very strong, hitting a lot of damage, taking down Logan's Pokemon since the third turn after 2 attacks, building up that ancient card in the discard pile, but not quite getting enough. Logan missing a knockout the previous turn, finally getting rid of that Roaring Moon, and then crucially finding the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, getting the follow-up knockout, and Sakuya against the ropes at that point.
It seemed like Sakuya had set up an unbeatable board, to be honest.
Yeah.
There was just that one small percent chance, and Logan Bailey pulls it off. Wow, I mean, with these 2 Roaring Moons in play, Logan probably had already lost the game in his mind. When he didn't find the Lost Vacuum off of the judge, in his mind, he just probably had accepted that he had gotten second place at the World Championships.
Yeah,
but it was not true.
And, I mean, it might have been a blessing in disguise, right? No, I mean, both cards would have gone to the Lost Zone. Maybe Sakuya would have slowed down to think about what he needed to do during that turn. Yeah, Logan's dad, of course, very pleased with that outcome. And we are heading to a game 3 here, Chip.
We are indeed heading into a game 3.
And this is what can happen, right? You judge your opponent into a bad hand, all of a sudden, you bench your opponent out, you run away with the game. Logan didn't take 6 prizes, it's just Sakuya didn't have any Pokemon left over to battle with.
And speaking of the judge, that is something that is very much going to be on the table here in Game 3. I have to imagine Sakuya will be choosing to go first, have a turn to try to get multiple Pokemon in play, you know, try to set Logan Bailey back a little bit, but it is a little bit of an opening here. Logan with 3 copies of Judge in the deck. Can he find one on turn 1 to play on that first turn of the game in order to limit Sakuya to just 4 cards?
Only 1 mulligan given away by Logan once again, so not a big card advantage for Sakuya. 1 mulligan total. I think we're in for a treat here, Chip. I was not expecting this Game 3, to be honest.
I was not expecting it at all. I don't think the crowd was expecting it. I don't think Logan was expecting it, but it is happening regardless. 1 more game to determine who will be the Trading Card Game Juniors Division World Champion. The tension is high. Let's get down to the table. It's time for Game 3. And Sakuya has started his Pheasantipity EX.
Yeah, the only rule box Pokemon, its ability will definitely not work, will not provide extra cards unless there's a Flutter Mane in the active, but those 2 prize cards could be crucial to help Logan close out a game a little bit earlier than he might have wanted to, perhaps. Retreating the Pokemon itself could be trouble, and now as we take a look at the prizes, 1 Professor Styles Vitality once again prized, Ancient Booster Capsule prized as well, and over on Logan's side, 1 Iron Thorns crucially prized, but that's okay, because you can only use 3 total.
Yeah, from Sakuya's side, you may look at those prizes and be like, yeah, I mean, it's nothing too bad. You want to, you know, cards that you place multiple copies of, but if you really look at it, there were 5 ancient cards in those prize cards. That could really limit Sakuya's reach in order to get to 1-hit KO numbers.
And we saw last game, he was 2 cards short of 1 KOing the follow-up Iron Thorns, right? And that's not something you expect to happen in the late game, but you missed that crucial KO that allowed Logan to be able to run away with the game now. Sakuya will have guaranteed 2 turns to set up without any sort of pressure from Logan, as Logan attaches 1 energy per turn. We talked about this yesterday, right? Iron Thorns being very strict about playing by the rules, and the rules only let you attach 1 energy per turn.
After the Nest Ball brings down a Roaring Moon to the bench, it will be the use of Pokestop. Does discard another Pokestop. That's not super strong because that means that Sophia will have 2 less answers to Lost City, right? With the one Pokestop being put in play already and the other one hitting the discard pile. But a pretty welcome sight will be that Earthen Vessel being used to discard a Darkness Energy, puts one down to be able to use with potentially Dark Patch, potentially with Professor Zada's Vitality, and will also guarantee the attachment this turn.
Yeah, only one Pokestop left for Sakuya. Could spell trouble later down the line. We see the Dark Patch be utilized immediately. We're going to see an attachment perhaps to the active, have that ready to retreat, and we see the pass over onto Logan.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like the Dark Patch use, to be honest, because if your opponent uses Judge, you may not be able to use Sada on the other end of your Judge. I guess it works out okay with the Pheasantipity being attached to in the active spot because you can always retreat that energy, but what if your opponent plays some Crushing Hammers, right?
Yeah, Crushing Hammers, obviously very, very important Dark Patch use, as you mentioned. A little preemptive, perhaps. Logan asking how many cards were in Sakuya's hand, and because of the language barrier a little bit, Sakuya almost interpreted that as if he was passing this turn.
Yeah, not going to be the case, but Logan finds perhaps the best supporter to play on turn 1 of the game, Judge. Both players will shuffle their hand into the deck, and they each will only get 4 cards. I think the main thing Logan Bailey will be looking for on the other end of this is a way to get rid of Sakuya's Stadium, because that's the big thing. You're trying to shut down your opponent's ability to have access to their resources, have access to the rest of their deck, and Pokestop is a pretty vital way for Sakuya to find new cards to work with.
Yeah, new cards to work with, more damage output, right? Discarding those flutter mains and great toss that are not very useful at this point in time. So yeah, Pokestop, such a crucial card, and especially you see your opponent lost another one. If you counter this one, they likely only have 1 left total.
Pretty solid draw there for Logan Bailey. Finds that Energy Lotto, a card that we've seen come up a few times in the history of competitive Pokemon. And also another Thorns. Just a pass now over to Sakuya. 4 cards to work with, plus the draw for turn. What do these 5 cards have? It will be a Pokestop initially, only finding Counter Catcher. Not super strong, and it will be at least Professor Sada's. Okay, Pheasantipity retreats. Sada to this Roaring Moon, drawing 3 cards. We're going to at least see an attack.
Definitely going to see a little bit of damage. The Roaring Moon hitting the discard pile. Not ideal, but does add up to the damage for Vengeance Fletching. I also see another Earthen Vessel, discarding Flutter Main, establishing another Roaring Moon. So Sakuya off to the races, getting a really good start here to start applying pressure.
Now, with no benched Pokemon in play, Sakuya could technically win this turn, but getting 16 Ancient cards in the discard pile would be pretty difficult from this point. He's already played a supporter, so there's no Explorer's Guidance. He's already used an Earthen Vessel, but off of that 5-card draw after the Judge, he's found a way to stabilize extremely nicely. Let's see how much damage is done here.
3-6, so 130 damage total, setting up the 2-hit KO perfectly. Now it's on Logan to try to knock this Roaring Moon out and have another Iron Thorns, which I do believe he already has in his hand.
Iron Thorns is found. There's the Energy Lotto in the hand in order to dig for a basic energy. Top 7 cards will be shown here to Logan, and he'll be able to take any energy card he finds there, not just basic energy. He can also find those double turbo energies, but in this spot, just needs a basic lightning and has a couple to choose from. We'll grab that copy, and now only needing a future booster energy capsule in order to get this knockout.
Plenty of energy to choose from. Of course, the lightning is the priority, and then I don't think Logan had an Arven in his hand. Did have a Poke here though, and Arven is the most common supporter in his deck, so you have to imagine he's going to try and utilize or find that in order to guarantee this knockout and ask more from his opponent in terms of responding.
So much damage already on this first Iron Thorns. And then going for the Pokegear 3.0. What would be the best supporter here for Logan to play this turn?
Gotta be the Arven. Gotta find that future booster in your capsule. Does find the Arven and the future booster energy capsule in there as well. So great find here. Now, the item could crucially be a Crushing Hammer. Try to attack your opponent's single energy, force them to have a Professor Sawdust to even consider attacking next turn.
Could definitely be huge. That Crushing Hammer is being grabbed immediately. Lost City is something, looks like, yeah, Logan doing just a little prize checking. Yeah, is this actually his first deck search? I didn't even realize. He's making sure he knows exactly what he has access to.
Now, will likely quickly realize he only has 2 Iron Thorn or 1 Iron Thorn DX left in the deck, has 1 in hand, 1 in play, and probably checking the future booster energy capsules as well, just to make sure he can boost that damage just a tiny little bit, 20 crucial damage, in order to get those knockouts on the Roaring Moon.
6 cards being grabbed, 1 item card, 1 tool card, of course, future booster energy capsule of the choice, and the Crushing Hammer. This is going to be a massive flip. These type of flips for this.
I'm sorry, so my build is gone. It went
winning
below
or
the fucking
losing
map, and
games.
it's just gone
You
forever.
really just want to slow down your opponent as much as possible, and a big
Why do I
part of
even
it
play
will
this?
be the use of this Crushing Hammer. Here we go. Let's see that roll of the dice.
Dude, this guy is a
Any more
fucking
crucial
squeaker.
than
He
at
just
the
keeps squeaking.
Queen Bee of the final of the World Championships chip.
Maybe a highest stake roll that Logan has ever seen. Here is the flip, and it is off screen slightly. It is a tails.
It is tails. 1 hitting there. Logan will be able to take this knockout, will be able to transfer the double turbo to the bench. Iron Thorns react very well. Will add a little bit of damage to the next incoming Roaring Moon, but able to stabilize so far.
Sakuya's all but got this knockout locked up. I think the only thing he would really like to prioritize here is finding another Roaring Moon to start getting ready on the bench, something he's sure he'll be able to promote. Perhaps an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule would be really strong here. It looks like, oh, can't use Pheasantipity.
Nope.
Nope, can't use Pheasantipity. We almost saw that flip the script. That would have been a really bad thing to do here in the final match. It will be Ultra Ball, though. This can find the other Roaring Moon still in the deck.
I love how Logan has been very on top of all of his opponent's actions as well, right? Preventing anything wrong from going at the final of the World Championships, and it's really great to see all this clean play from both players.
Absolutely, must respect the sportsmanship from both of these players. They're here to just enjoy the game and just happen to find themselves in the highest stake match of their young lives. We do see Sada attaching the 2 Darkness energy from the discard pile to each of those ancient Pokemon, 3 cards being drawn. There is already 2 energy on the active, a Night Stretcher as well. This can recover another Roaring Moon. Could even attach an energy to another Roaring Moon, so you have 2 options to close out the game. I think you would run a risk of, you know, spreading yourself a little too thin. Sakuya recognizing that, and will just take this KO with Vengeance. Fletching, taking 2 prize cards, jumping ahead in this game.
Yeah, recovering the Roaring Moon, but not benching it immediately does mean he won't be able to have the flexibility of perhaps choosing an energy later down the line. But of course, that's the decision that Sakuya has taken. He knows his risk, he knows what he wants to try to do, and now it's on Logan to find yet another future booster energy capsule, another lightning energy, and perhaps more Crushing Hammers to try to disrupt the flow of aggression that we're seeing from Sakuya right now.
Yeah, those ancient cards are starting to build up very, very quickly. That does have a Crushing Hammer, also an Iono in hand, another huge flip. And we see heads from Logan. His reaction says it all. It is a tails. No energy removed from Sakuya's side.
I don't think you can use your contrail in this. It's activated my contrail. Let's fucking play Red the Lightning. It's not even doing anything.
Boosters, energy capital left over, as one is still hiding in the prize card.
That card, and no, that will mean Logan does not get this KO, and he doesn't have a way to get another Pokemon on the bench.
No way to attack even, unfortunately.
Yeah, no basic lightning energy. Wow.
Yeah.
A pass. Oh my goodness, that is not what Logan Bailey wants to see. No options at all, and Sakuya has started to pick up the pace here. I think he's recognizing this is a great situation for me. Can he reach for the KO? Can he get to 16 ancient cards in the discard pile?
Sakuya crucially top deck the A-Spec Secret Box.
Oh my
You
goodness.
advocated for Chip.
Secret Box, the A-Spec of choice. We have not seen it yet in this final match. You can only use it if you discard 3 other cards from your hand. We're gonna start with that Pokestop. 2 ancient cards going down. Sakuya keeping track of the count here. Needs to get to 16 total. He can win the World Championships on this turn. Pokegear 3.0. Is there an ancient supporter able to be found? No, it is just the boss's orders.
The deck quite a bit. Can that Secret Box do it for him? I wish we knew exactly how many are in the discard pile.
What's nice about the Secret Box as well is after discarding some cards, you can go get an ancient supporter and then discard it with something like an Earthen Vessel, which is the item card you could take off Secret Box. There is a pretty high chance Sakuya can reach for the 1-hit KO this turn. Counting the cards in the discard pile, looks like it's 10 at this time. 3 more going down, boosting, 2 more, sorry, boosting it up to 12. Can he discard 4 more?
Earthen Vessel, Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, an
Explorer's
Ancient
Guidance.
Supporter, yeah, that's 3 more potentially. Hasn't played a supporter yet. It could come down to the Explorer's Guidance, and we can thin more energies beforehand.
14 cards in the discard pile, and if this Explorer's Guidance is played, that will be 15 down, meaning that Sakuya needs to find just 1 single ancient card from the top 6 cards of the deck in order to become the world champion. Here we go, 6 cards, no ancient card yet,
There's
but
2.
the pair will be discarded now. Sakuya Ota will discard the ancient cards, wants to make sure
this.
1 final count, as careful as possible in this highest of stakes moment. And this is what Sakuya needs in order to become the Pokemon TCG Juniors Division World Champion.
What a game, perfectly executed by Sakuya right there. Very crucial count. That secret box for the ancient box deck. Turns out that was the secret to becoming the world champion.
Secret box, ancient box, all of these things lead to Sakuya Ota standing atop all of the other juniors who competed in this event from around the world. What an exciting cap off to what has been an amazing tournament for all of our junior division competitors.
Extremely well played by both players in this extremely clean finals match. There could have been a few situations where we could have seen a few mishaps happening, but both players on top of things. Logan very quick to catch all these little things, and perfectly executed by Sakuya in that last turn. You could even see how he was like really nervous, even double checking. He stopped on the ancient box. I feel like if I had been there, I would have just thrown the cards in the discard pile, not caring about anything else.
But you gotta respect the ability to, keep calm and make sure that nothing went wrong. I mean, we've had so many exciting matches throughout the weekend. My voice has barely been able to keep up. I could barely handle that final match. But Sakuya Ota is able to come away the victor, becoming the world champion with such a surprise choice for this tournament as well. We saw a little bit of it in the Masters Division. Diego Casiraga had a pretty decent run from Argentina with an ancient box deck. Sakuya Ota standing atop the rest with his choice for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, clearly playing this deck entails some sort of risk, right? There's a few matchups that you probably struggle a little bit, perhaps Charizard.
Yeah, you unlock Bus Station right there. Like, how do you unlock Bus Station?
2 of those losses during day 1, but then all of a sudden you have a good Iron Thorns, a good Raging Bolt.
Yes.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you're making it far at the World Championships, and turns out you can become the champion.
And it definitely does seem like that matchup was very much in Sakuya's favor.
Yeah.
Logan really kind of stole a game in game number 2. Stuck the opponent with a not as great hand. Sakuya maybe missing the attachment of that ancient booster energy capsule to the bench.
Yeah.
Logan sends us to a game 3. I mean, that's all you can ask for, right? Give yourself a chance. We do have to give massive congratulations, of course, to Logan. Getting to this point, becoming a finalist at the World Championships, something he should be extremely proud of.
I need to find
with a
another
unique choice for the tournament as well, a deck I know he is
this is so
very
annoying.
hard on to get to this point.
There's so many bugs that exist.
Yeah,
With the
I mean, had a
pre-existing
stellar
world.
season throughout as well. Regional champion, multiple regional top 4s and top 8s, and the icing on the cake being a 2nd place at the World Championships. It might sting a little bit to lose coming so close, but if you had asked him before the tournament, I'm sure, would you be okay with a second place at the World Championships? I'm pretty sure he would say, yeah, that'd be great.
I think most people would be okay with it, but also at the same time, I think if you told people they were going to get to the finals,
yeah,
it might sting a little bit
of
to know
course,
you couldn't come away with it. You know, Logan, of course, being a fierce competitor. Let's take a look at a recap of what went down in that final match. Kicking it off with game number 1. The story of this game really was Sakuya's early aggression, thanks to Defiance Band reaching for a KO on his very first attack.
Yeah, that's definitely not something you expect, especially when you're slowing them down, trying to deny those concealed cards, but Sakuya's aggression never stopped, and Logan was barely able to stabilize during the game, and unfortunately had to forfeit after missing a knockout by not getting that future booster energy capsule.
And in game number 2, Sakuya was jumping out pretty far ahead, and it really seemed like Sakuya was going to come away with this. Had perfect math to take that first Iron Thorns down after Logan missed the one-hit knockout on it, not finding a future booster energy capsule. Sakuya set up for the end game pretty nicely, but only had 2 Pokemon in play. Logan missed the Lost Vacuum. We thought that was what was going to cost him the game, but in the end, missing the Lost Vacuum won him game number 2.
Yeah, that was actually so clutch. Even the top deck was amazing on that Lost Vacuum. Had the Arven to go for it, but set himself up perfectly. Perhaps Sakuya, as you mentioned, getting a little bit of ahead of himself with not attaching the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, but then in game 3, it was all on Sakuya.
It was all on Sakuya. Able to take these KOs, building up to the eventual one-hit knockout on these Iron Thorns EX. Logan tried his best to keep up, but the Explorer's Guidance, discarding just enough ancient cards, ends up being all Sakuya needed to punch his ticket to become the world champion.
What a game we saw.
All right, so that
the
one.
Aggression, I think we're ready for an interview to hear about all that happened in this game 3 by Sakuya. Let's see what he has to say. Thank you, Anna.
Let's just
Thank you so
keep
much.
going
I
up there.
am here with our champion, Sakuya. Sakuya, the casters were saying you seemed very calm and were being very careful at the end of the game. Did you feel calm, and why were you being so careful?
試合の最後の方ではかなり落ち着いているご様子で、すごく慎重にプレイされているご様子だったんですが、どうやってそんなに落ち着いていられたのでしょうか。
勝ち方が、分かっていたので、このままいければ勝てるかなって思っていたんですけど、相手の番狂わせがちょっと怖かったので、本当はドキドキしていました。
So I knew how to win and how to get there, so I knew I could do it. However, I was pretty scared of how my opponent may influence the board, so that had my heart racing a bit.
Wow, you did such a great job, and now, from now on, you will be called a world champion. How does that feel?
よくできました。これからは世界チャンピオンというタイトルになりますが、どういう気持ちでしょうか。
来年も世界チャンピオンを何としてでも死守したいなっていう気持ちです。
I want to make sure I keep the title next year as well, no matter what.
Let's do it. That's a good answer. Now, one last thing. There are lots of people out here cheering you on. Is there anyone you want to say hello or thank you to in the audience?
ここでたくさんの方々が応援してくださっているのですが、特別に挨拶したい方とかはいらっしゃいますでしょうか。
連れてきてくれた父です。
My father who brought me here.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it one more time for your world champion. And for all the families who are here supporting, thank you so much. That's not all. We are going right into our seniors finals now. Casters, let's go.
Thank you so much, Anna. Welcome back to the caster booth here. We've done a quick switch out. I'm Shelby Vu here with Kyle Sablehouse. We've crowned one of our world champions today in our junior division, but we've got some more action prepared for you all. We have to move on to our seniors division. now, and it's going to be an explosive matchup.
Yeah, this is so exciting. We've already been so pumped up by watching the juniors compete and reach all 3 games there to crown the champion. We have another showing to see if there's another Japanese player. Are we going to repeat history and have a full Japanese sweep like we did 20 years ago? Let's find out.
Anything can happen at the World Championships, as you just saw. But yeah, the Iron Thorns went down, the Ancient Fox prevailing in that matchup. But we have a quick change of pace now into some different decks. And I'm pretty excited about this senior championship coming up here, Kyle, because we've got a deck that's coming back. It reigns supreme at the North America International Championships, taking 6 of the 8 spots in our top 8, and that is Gardevoir. And we really haven't seen it much at all on our Masters stream, but it is here in our seniors division as one of our competitors is bringing it to the table.
Yeah, Evolving is back. Does my caster prediction work?
Oh wait,
now?
that's right. There's junior,
No,
seniors,
probably
and
not.
masters. I keep forgetting that.
But
They
this
call
is a deck that we've seen
kids that are in
over
high
and
school
over
as
again,
seniors.
just drawing all those cards, accelerating the psychic energies, and finding ways to take unique knockouts. Monkey Dory, an incredible addition to this deck, has found a great way to take those damage counters that you place with your Gardevoir, put them on your opponent, and find unique ways to take those prize cards and close out games. It's going to be difficult on the other side, though. We got a lot of hit points and a lot of crazy attacks that you can use as a Reggie Drago V-Star.
Exactly, yeah, going to be facing off against that Reggie Drago deck. We've been asking all weekend, is it going to be the year of the Drago? Kyle, we'll have to wait and see if Reggie Drago can take it down, or Gardevoir here in our senior division championships. Everyone behind us is gathering out in the crowd now as well. You can really start to feel things heating up. Everyone's trying to secure their seats here for all of our championship matches that are going down. We want to crown those world champions here at the table. We're making history in Honolulu, Hawaii, and it has been amazing so far.
Yeah, 2 great competitors that have been working tirelessly to get to this point, and you know that this is such an incredible moment for them, for their families, their friends, everyone they've competed with all throughout the year to get to this point. This is everything.
Everything. It is everything, and our senior division competitors are just as skillful as our masters and even our juniors as well. And you can see it with the deck choices. Reggie Drago, such an explosive deck. It was brought into this format as one of the best decks, the top to beat. So when you're going into a format where everyone is trying to counter you or have some sort of answer to you, to bring that deck and to have confidence with it is huge here in Evan in our seniors division. But as well, Haruku bringing Gardevoir. I mean, this is a deck that requires absolute masterclass play here, and it rewards it, but this could be a quite tricky matchup for Gardevoir in that Reggie Drago, but I'm wondering if Haruku has faced off against any Reggie Drago so far and how those matches have fared.
Yeah, we've seen this is the deck that rewards patience, finding that opportunity to build on your board state, establish that Gardevoir at the perfect opportunity, and then start to wreak havoc with all of these interesting attackers. We've seen Drifloon of all Pokemon. The little balloon does work.
Little balloon! It does do work, absolutely. Yeah, that is one thing Gardevoir brings to the table in these single prize attackers that can hit an incredible amount of damage. All of your energy is accelerated onto the field with some Psychic Embrace from that Gardevoir EX, and you have a lot of variation in the attackers you can choose into specific matchups. But that's where the skill is involved with the players that choose to pilot this deck, because all of those routes change every single match that you play. All of those win conditions change, and to identify those and those key moments and those pivotal turns is huge. So to see this in our seniors finals is gonna be pretty epic. And not only that, Haruku, this is actually the first year as a senior, and we're about to see him on our stage here, potentially a world champion.
Yeah, it's unreal to think in the first year of eligibility of the senior division could be the world champion. Has so many more years left to go in this division.
I'm scared, Kyle, I'm scared.
Imagine what he looks like as a master. It's gonna be unreal. But that's just what we're talking about here. You have this this potential to just build your name so young here at the World Championship stage. As a young player, you have to make the finals if you want to be on the stream, and sure enough, has done just that. and we could be talking about them for a long time coming.
Exactly. I mean, we see that in our Masters division from our players. They were playing years and years ago. I mean, the first time we were here in Hawaii was like 17 years ago. So that's where those players started, and they made it to our stage here now as Masters. And this is the story here for our juniors and our seniors to establish their name in the game and get this placement under their belt, potentially become a world champion, and put their names in the history books for sure.
It's going to be quite a match for us here. Of course, we still have more action after this. Stay tuned for the Masters Finals, which looks to be quite a crazy match too. The Iron Thorns is not done yet. It had its chance in the junior division, but maybe we'll see that come out on top in the Masters division. But also, Roaring Moon, not just Roaring Moon though. EX is hanging out too. There's some fireworks waiting to be had there as well.
Exactly, yeah, we saw the big roaring, or sorry, the small roaring moon. Now we're going to see the big roaring moon in our Masters Finals.
What station is this
gonna
next
be
to?
Super
This is
exciting.
just a random
also, two
fucking
very
spot.
young players that we're going to see on our stage in our Masters Finals. So this year, 2024 Hawaii World Championships for the trading card game is definitely the year for the young players to come out and absolutely dominate out here in the field.
Yeah, two 17-year-olds. That is quite wild.
Kyle, when were you? 17?
Don't make me say I'm almost twice that now.
Don't talk about
it's
that.
dangerous territory.
Yes, but absolutely. Young players out here dominating in the trading card game, and you love to see that so much. I mean, what is it that they have, Kyle? They just have the edge in their brains? What's going on there?
I mean, they're sharp, and they know that also they've got so much time to play the Pokemon trading card game too. It's the perfect opportunity here to just build on your craft and continue to play with your friends. Find the right decks, find that unique strategy that works for you.
Oh, this goes all the way to the rubber
lead
base.
you to
Got
a
it.
championship.
Yes, well, we're going to be coming up very soon here. Our players are getting ready. They have to get prepped, of course, for the stage. I actually was able to meet both of our players before they were about to sit down here for their championship match. And Haruku did seem a little bit nervous going into this matchup, but was very excited to be on our stream, on our stage here to perform for you all. So we'll definitely have to make sure to cheer on both of our players. Evan, on the other hand, was seeming calm, cool, collected. I was like, is there anything you want me to mention, anything you want me to talk about? And he was like, nah, I'm good.
Well, let's see how our players were able to reach this final table. We'll check out the bracket. Maybe that'll tell the story. Is there a reason to be nervous? Doesn't look like it.
Ooh, what
undefeated through this whole thing.
Oh my goodness, Haruku bringing Gardevoir here and going undefeated throughout our top 8. Now in the finals, one step away in this match before becoming a world champion. Evan on the other side.
Yeah, look at that. Not only also undefeated through the bracket, but taking down Gabriel Fernandez, the former world champion of last year too. That is quite an accomplishment. And just one more trainer waiting for him in the finals. Could this be Evan's year?
Oh, wow. And also, Haruku is actually 2-0 against Reggie Drago so far throughout this tournament. Which is pretty wild, and has already taken down Evan in previous rounds.
Oh man, well, there's nothing left to do than to introduce our players and get this underway. Let's throw it to the stage.
Build your own by
Be
destroying a bus
exciting,
station.
Kyle.
For
Our
sure.
stage is looking beautiful. Anna?
Thanks so much. Nothing left to do
can you?
indeed. Are you ready to welcome your finalists in this grand final match? Please give a big round of applause as you welcome to the stage from Japan, Haruku Umehara! And from the United States, Evan Pavelski! Welcome to the stage. Evan, I want to chat with you first. You've been a top 16 at Worlds before 3 times. You've been top 23 at Worlds. Are you used to being up here? Is this easy? I think we need to borrow a... We don't have a microphone. Just stand very close to me.
Okay, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I lost my winning in Worlds last 2 years.
Oh.
It's nice to make
Good. Well, it's nice to be up here. Do you feel confident? Yes or no?
Feeling good.
Great. All right. Yes, we're feeling confident. And we'll ask the same simple question. How confident are you feeling up here on stage?
Just a little bit.
A little bit confident. All right, we can work with that. Let's hear it for both of our competitors. Oh, that's all right. We'll do one more question since we have a microphone now. All right, Evan, you're bringing that Regidrago V-Star deck. Tell us a little bit about it. Why is it so good? There's no deck that fully counters it is the answer, yeah? Huh? All right, sounds good. All right, guys, it sounds like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, so let's just get the match started. How about that? All right, everyone, please take your seats. We can't wait to watch you play. Back to you, Caster.
Thank you so much, Anna. Nice to hear just a couple of words from both of our competitors here in our Senior Division Championship. Let's get one more round of applause, get these players hyped up before they get into this match. I'm sure there's some nerves here sitting down on the stage, but both these players are ready to go. Haruku saying just a little bit confident going into this matchup, but has already taken down Evan in a previous match. So I'm excited to see both the established strategies from these players heading into this matchup. Really, anything could happen here, right, Kyle?
Right, what a perfect storyline for both these players. An opportunity to overcome this insurmountable accomplishment, take down this player who's already taken you down before, but also Regidrago feels like it has this chance. It has a deck list that works so well, has so many different unique attacks that it can copy, and maybe we can see one of those wild turns with that Kyurem just taking down Pokemon left and right.
Exactly. Also, even just the accomplishments for both of these players. Haruku in last season, a world's top 8 in the junior division.
Oh, can only be
So
destroyed
now
with a
sitting here
pickaxe
as
of
a
epic
finalist,
rarity.
potentially a
Gotcha.
world champion. I'm sure
Okay.
this match means a lot.
That makes
Evan,
sense,
on the other
since
hand,
I don't
2019,
use
2022,
epic
and
pickaxes.
2023,
It's a
all
waste of
top 16
resources.
placements. So now, stretching that even further
Fuck.
here, on our stage, a finalist and potentially a world champion. You'll have to let us know who you're rooting for, which deck you're cheering on in the crowd. We have United States up against Japan.
And both of these players already earning one of those trophies that
I need to go to
they're
C to get
coveted,
my
they're looking for throughout the entirety
shit
of the
back.
year, but which will hold the gold here at the World Championships. Will it be Gardevoir, or will it be the deck that we saw in the Masters Division taking over this Regidrago V-Star once more? It's so fast, it's so unique.
I guess I could
It's
try
also
to
pretty
see if I
volatile.
can destroy it with
all the things we love to see on stage.
lightsaber.
It sure is. Yeah, this is going to be an exciting game coming up for you all. Both of these players going to bring their all, but so are their decks. I mean, these decks have been curated for this event specifically into this meta game, and you're having a very popular deck that had a ton of usage in our Masters Division and I'm sure our Seniors Division as well versus Gardevoir that dominated at the North America International Championship, but then sort of fell off because of some other decks that it was going to go against. But here, not for Haruku. He's bringing it to our stage saying, nope, maybe I've been playing Gardevoir for a while. I'm
What are the odds
comfortable
that I
in it.
can land
Comfortable
in
with
my ship?
strategies, and we're going to get things cracking here in our
Enemy was not really an inclusion that you needed in the deck, but now it's guaranteed, has to be here. Shroud of Fable
I need to
is
go
around, and you
home.
have to worry about the fact that this Kyurem can just
Space
knock
goes
out
straight
Pokemon
down.
left and right. So we see that inclusion. It also means that you have limited bench space. So when you're trying to include these Monkey Dory drawing cards with Curlia, you have to think about every single bench slot, and that just makes it a little trickier to come up with that perfect strategy.
Yeah, you got to be thinking. It's a good point, Kyle. We're actually playing the trading card game in a brand new format here. We have a new set that came out, Shrouded Fable. It brought us a lot of new Pokemon and strategies, a lot of poison, a lot of dark type Pokemon, and we're gonna see some of that action today. Specifically, as you mentioned, Kyle, that Kyurem that can hit for a lot of damage. It's 110 to 3 different Pokemon, and that could be brutal for these setup decks that have these smaller HP Pokemon need to set up over time. But Haruku's going to look to change the table here in this matchup, pour things into his favor, because once your engine is going, once you do get that set up, you can have these explosive turns, and you have the prize cards on your side as well, because a lot of your Pokemon are single prize Pokemon. So as long as we can avoid those triple knockouts, we should be okay, right?
Well, we will certainly see just that. There's also the Dragapult to worry about too. Spreading those damage counters can be so tricky. If you incorporate a big knockout with that Drifloon, beware, because boss's orders, Prime Catcher, whatever it may be, is waiting on the other side. And that could be 2-3 prize cards falling pretty quickly.
Exactly, Kyle. It's going to be intense. Both our players are setting up here. We have to have a basic Pokemon to start here in the trading card game. So they're going to draw 7 cards, identify that basic Pokemon, and get things going. How the trading card game works here on our screens, if you are not super tuned in, they're going to have 6 prize cards each for both our players. These are what are being laid out right now. These cards are locked up until you start taking some knockouts and taking these prize cards down.
One Ralts is a little unfortunate there, but 3 energies for Evan could be a little awkward. We've seen from time to time, you get those energies rolling, it can lead to some good times with the Teal Mask Ogerpon.
Yeah, that is true. This could be potentially a little bit damaging here, but at least we have one on each side there for Evan, hopefully drawing them throughout the match, taking these early knockouts. It looks like we're getting started here. Let's get some hype in the crowd for this match. Kicking off here in our Senior Division World Championships. We're starting off strong here. Haruku going to be going first. Ultra Ball to discard that Drifloon nice and early on, and that Dark Energy. Monkey Dory is going to be the active Pokemon.
Yeah, Monkey Dory, of course, with that Dark Energy, allows to move those damage counters from your side of the field to your opponents. Really start to cause some disruption, save some hit points on your side. Does not really help when that Dark Energy hits the discard pile. You're not bringing it back with the Gardevoir EX. It's one of those few energies, and we already saw one in the prize card. So if Monkey Dory wants to get into the mix, there's just one final Dark Energy remaining.
Ooh, yeah, we're going to have to see if that could be drawn or somehow shuffled back in, if that is an option. Tatsugiri is coming down off of this Ultra Ball. How pivotal do you think Tatsugiri is in this strategy for Haruku?
Yeah, Tatsugiri is a Pokemon that we typically have only seen from the Japanese list. And thank goodness we do, because you have that opportunity to find that perfect supporter card. As long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, you look for those top 6. Maybe you can attract some customers. We need to find any help here we can.
All right, let's look at these 6. We need a supporter in this hand to establish this initial turn here. We do not see anything. Of course, 2 supporters in the prize cards in that Iono, as well as the Arvin for Haruku. So maybe limiting that Tatsugiri attract customers ability just a bit there. But did we get a look at the opening hand here for Haruku? Are we working with anything else to see here? Because the Dark Energy's gone, Monkey Dory's in play, but it can't use its ability without that Dark Energy. Tatsugiri not netting us anything. It's just
That's not what we like to see.
Over to Evan Pavelski, and we've talked about this deck so much. It can absolutely pop off potentially, starting here with some Teal Dancing. We're getting groovy out here, Kyle. We're Teal Dancing into an additional card. Let's see what the starting hand is for Evan. Of course, going second does have access to a supporter, and that's
But it's just
Iono.
Iono. You saw your opponent did not have the hand, but you don't have the hand either. And it's just a play the Iono, give your opponent those free cards, and maybe you can establish that pivotal Pokemon. You need that Regidrago to start things off, and there is the Ultra Ball.
Very
you might as well throw away that Kyurem while you're at it.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice selection there, that Regidrago. I'm sure having to come out here, but another thing we need to see are these Dragon Pokemon hitting the discard pile. This is the entire strategy of the Regidrago deck. It copies the moves of these Dragon Pokemon that are in the discard pile. So not only is it a very easy choice for a discard to this Ultra Ball, but it's also giving you those Pokemon that you need to set up as well. The Super Rod, a late game resource going down for Evan. Not the best. We would love to see another Dragon Pokemon there, but Evan is working with what he's got at this point in time. We would have loved to see the capitalization there off of that absolutely brutal starting hand for Haruku. But Evan, like you said, just has to do what he's got to do. And well, I'm excited to see what this hand now looks like. A fresh 6 cards for Haruka
Might
on
be
the other
another
side.
fresh 6 cards, just depending on what is in the hand. Perhaps that's Walkability EX, a Pokemon that you can incorporate on that opening turn. Obviously, a great inclusion for the sole purpose of drawing more cards, seeing more resources, and potentially finding that setup that you're looking for. We'd love to see Reggie Drago V along with more Teal Mask Ogerpon to go with this basic setup, and I'm not seeing it just yet.
Not just yet, but can we get there? Of course, Evan is going to take a moment here to identify all the resources that are in the deck. You see the notepad there on the side, jotting down what is in the prize cards. Every resource counts here, especially as we saw 3 energy in the prize cards for Evan as well. So making sure to keep track of all the finite resources you need to carry out these turns throughout the game.
Yeah, of course, the grass energies to continue to draw with the Teal Mask are so helpful, but the fire energy needed as a requirement of that attack for your V-Star Pokemon. So with only 2 remaining, yes, you have plenty of ways to search it with the Earthen Vessel, but earlier, sooner than later, please.
Yes, please, please. Yeah, there's only 3 fire energy, one of them caught up in the prize cards right now. Evan does get that Regidrago V, of course, for the turn here, which is great. We're going to see the energy switch off of that Teal Mask Ogerpon, moving that grass energy onto that Regidrago V, starting to build up to its attack here in the future. But we're over on the other side of the field now for the second turn here for Haruku, and we're gonna see it's going a lot nicer than the last turn did.
This is delicious.
It is delicious indeed. We're about to feed a couple of Pokemon here. 70 HP or less are the Pokemon you're targeting down with a Buddy Buddy Poffin. So those Ralts are what we're wanting to see from Haruku.
And I mean, we saw with Evan's turn there, just 2 cards in hand is sufficed with the Regidrago V on the other side. This turn's not over. Arvin helping out. Hopefully that energy is in the hand to go along with this. This could be quite a turn. See those evolutions. Curlia, come on down.
Exactly. That is what you're
Come on
seeing.
down.
Look at this. This hand was fantastic. Here's the Arvin searching out that technical machine as well as that Buddy Buddy Poffin, getting that Manaphy out on the bench to protect here with that Wave Veil ability against damage. On the bench, another Ralts joining us. We are establishing everything, and this is what I was talking about, everybody. It could get very dangerous once you let a Gardevoir player fully set up here, because then they're taking knockouts back to back. And not only do we have that, we also have attract some customers.
That's right. It's not
Jesus
working,
Christ.
but maybe we just gotta
Okay.
cook something new.
Oh, look at that, though. The Tatsugiri not only just attracting
Obsidian
customers
Slab
or
and
maybe
Frost
not having a
Primer.
great
Jesus
business day
Christ.
there with the supporters, but that technical machine evolution is
Obsidian
huge here.
Slab,
Going to
8.
attach that energy to be able to use it. It's going to discard at the end of the turn, but that is
Oh, thank
A-okay
God.
because we have the refinement ability now unlocked for the next turn here for Haruku from those Curlia on the bench now.
Yeah, Tatsu did its
And I think it
job.
was
Found
5
Curlia. You have the
Frost
opportunity to
Primer.
get aggressive with the Gardevoir next turn, but now it is all on Evan to find a response.
Yep.
That's a pink
Thank
card,
God.
though. How risky do you get?
Ooh, we do like pink cards, but Evan seems to be going in a little bit of a pickle here.
As the professor's research to follow this, but with the Prime Catcher, do you target down a Pokemon like that Manaphy? Do you target down a Curlia and play it a little safer?
We'll have to see. It looks like debating that strategy here, Kyle. What does he want to do with this Prime Catcher? A-spec cards, those bright pink cards. You can only have 1 of any type in your deck here. The Prime Catcher is the A-spec here for Evan. It allows you to gust your opponent's Pokemon into the active as well as switch your own. But just looking through the resources first here on both ends of the discard piles before Evan makes that decision.
Yeah, the discard pile doesn't tell enough of the story just yet.
Exactly.
There's not that, I don't believe we've seen the Earthen Vessel, which is typically a card that you love to see in this mix, but
Right.
this is the aggressive approach. If you go after the Manaphy, maybe you can find that Canceling Clone and go crazy with this professor's research.
We'll have to see what happens. Fresh 7 cards off of this professor's research, getting us some help here. What can we see, Kyle?
Oh, that's Earthen Vessel. There's a little more help, but Ultra Ball can go into the Regidrago V-Star. That leads into a maybe risky Legacy Star, but if it found Canceling Cologne, that is Kirim wiping out everything.
Yeah, that is so dangerous here, and these are the turns we were waiting to see if they would happen here from Evan. This could be huge potentially, but we need to put those pieces together. The Canceling Cologne, a key card. It's a 1 copy in this deck for Evan. It would allow him to shut down that Manaphy there and then wreak havoc on Haruku's board on the other side with that Kirim that is already in the discard pile, copied by that Regidrago V-Star.
The Trifrost, wouldn't that be a way to start things off here in your first game at the World Championships Finals here from the Seniors Division? You could knock out just about everything that Haruku is trying to establish on that side of the board, but we are a couple pieces short. Ultra Ball looking to find that Regidrago V-Star. Maybe Teal Mask Ogrepon with the Grass Energy could find a little more help too.
Maybe we'll have to see here. Not able to utilize that Pheasantipity because there's no knockout here, so that's what we're gonna have to see, some Teal Mask action. Ultra Ball being used now. It's gonna be a discard of the boss's orders as well as that Earthen Vessel going into the discard. All of these resources being accounted for here by Evan.
Giddy up.
We need to get these evolutions out. We have the Regidrago V-Star now. That is one more piece of the puzzle, and that Legacy Star ability is huge here, Kyle.
This is a big moment now for Evan. Do you full send at this point? Legacy Star discards a lot of resources. This is your one ability to use for the entire game. Throw away 7 resources, but you get to look through that discard pile, find any 2 cards, and throw away that clone, get it right back.
Exactly. It's a way, the Legacy Star being used as a way to recycle resources. It's a way to clutch those cards toward the end of the game if you are able to save it up here. It is a key piece to the puzzle here for Evan, but we're going to have to see what this turn brings us here. All right, well, we have the energy now on that Regidrago V-Star. It's fully charged up here for some Apex Dragon action.
Safety first is going to be the measure.
Nice and consistent.
Nice and calm there with the Suyin Gudra laying down that rolling iron. Very safe play here to preserve those hit points. The opponent hasn't shown you anything just yet. They can draw a few more cards, of course, with the Curlia. They have to reestablish that Manaphy, or else the Kirim could go crazy with the Trifrost again.
Exactly. You're almost forcing your opponents to have to re-protect themselves here, or at least get into some evolutions. We do see the evolution into the Gardevoir EX, and that Night Stretcher, a brand new card from Shrouded Fable, and look how beautifully it plays into this deck, allowing you to get a Pokemon or a basic energy from your discard pile, go straight into your hands. So that is perfect here for Haruku.
Yeah, of course, with this setup, when you see a Pokemon like that, Tatsugiri, and you look at the rest of the board, you have to play it safe and have the Manaphy. Plenty of energies being thrown away. This is great for a Gardevoir EX, but what is your attacker in a spot like this? Do you confuse ever, or do you get aggressive with the Gardevoir EX, start to deal some relevant damage? That is your main Pokemon to get your engine rolling.
Yeah, exactly. We are seeing the strategy be pulled together here from Haruku. I love the just how composed he is as well, going through all these actions, knowing exactly what needs to be done here on these turns, getting those psychic energy into the discard pile to be able to re-accelerate them out. There's going to be some damage counters going around, so it has to be very careful where all of these energies are placed in our future turns. Of course, this refinement ability, huge. You discard, you draw 2 cards. We're going to be drawing a ton of cards here on Haruku's side. Lots of resources to work with here, but like you said, Kyle, what's the strategy? We're going to do an attract customers. Once again, can we actually get a supporter this time? No.
Yeah, they just, it's not working. The business model is struggling, but plenty of cards here, and that's just fine.
Yes, I know. Yeah, that is what this deck does. It sees a lot of cards. It gives you access to all the strategies you'd like to carry out as soon as you can get this set up. And Haruku is getting there here. Gardevoir EX already out on the field. We're utilizing all of these abilities now. They've all been used. We have the retreat force.
Here we go.
Look at this.
We're going to hit the confusion one time for the people.
Oh, you'll love to see it. The mind bends. Not only does this Monkey Dory have that Adrenabrain ability, but it can also use Mind Bend. 60 damage, and then your opponent is confused. Of course, there was that Hisuian Gudra V-Star last
Come on,
turn.
get there, you son of a
But
bitch.
yeah, you see that Regidrago V-Star. It's not damaged, but it is looking quite confused. It's like, where am I at? What's going on?
Help. Its world has been turned upside down.
Quite literally. Yes, help indeed. Let's see if Evan is able to get out of this situation after that Monkey Dory came into play, added some confusion to the field. Gonna start us off with a Nest Ball. It's gonna get us this UEX. Does have free retreat there, which is a nice pivot option to have on your bench here for the future for Evan.
Yeah, we've seen the Prime Catcher already in the discard pile, Legacy Star. If you choose to use that ability, you can find that Prime Catcher and move around. There's one switch as well. This is a 3 retreat cost Pokemon, so flipping
It's
through
bulky.
this could be scary.
That's a big boy right there.
That's right.
3 retreat, that is huge, and that is one obstacle that Haruku has identified to put in Evan's way here. And I'm excited to see how this turns out. I'm wondering how close this was to their previous matchup, if it was kind of the same strategies used and how Evan was able to get around them back then. But Ultra Ball is going to be used here now.
Yeah, for Evan, honestly, he may not have wanted to play the Prime Catcher, but had Professor's Research. But when you know your opponent goes for a confusion strategy, you typically hold those resources. You make sure that you can use the switch, use the Prime Catcher, then maybe Legacy Star, bring those back so you can continue to just attack, and never worry about flipping the coin. Because we've seen the flips at the stage. Sometimes they don't go your way.
Yeah, they do not always go your way. That is very true, Kyle. So we'd like to avoid those as much as possible. Here we go, Kyle. Legacy Star,
Oh, yeah, I
7
don't have any
cards here.
resources
They're
on
all
my
going to go into the
Astros. I need
discard
some
pile,
Living
but
Breath.
then Evan is able to take 2 cards out of the discard, put them into the hands. But this is a bit awkward here, huh, Kyle?
One of them was the switch. And of course, the Prime Catcher is a great card to think about as well. But after this is found, I'm assuming it's going to be the Prime Catcher. There's no more ways to move this Pokemon from the active spot.
Oof, yeah, this is limited resources here for Evan. We've talked so much about having to keep heavy counts of all your resources to make sure you can carry out these strategies in the later game. But this is where you start seeing things get a little bit dicey here. If you're just 1 card short on one of these turns, you can fall behind significantly. But Prime Catcher is going to be used here. That's going to bring up one of these Pokemon on Haruku's side of the board, as well as allowing Evan to get out of this state of confusion on that Regidrago V-Star. Going to the bench, nullifying that effect. The Mew EX already is able to hard retreat for the turn, thanks to that free retreat cost for Evan as well. And we are still getting into some cards.
Yeah, the turn
That's
where
your
managers
only
don't have
point.
the cologne,
Damn it.
The turn
You're
where you
so
bring
cute.
up the curly, you do have the cologne.
Ooh.
Alright,
It's
Healy,
just not all
give me some
lining
shit.
up here, but certainly Evan will
Ooh,
feel comfortable
cozy
with
bookshelf.
an attacking Regidrago V-Star in the active spot after the retreat from the Mew. Just continue to build on the board state that you have here. Find those energies.
20 and 10. I'll
Accelerate
take
them
that.
to your Pokemon. You've got the Teal Mass to draw an additional resource, the Fire Energy. To
Ooh,
the bench.
glass
Draw
powder.
makes
Yes,
sense.
please.
Maybe
Only
this is gonna
one?
be a game
Yeah,
where you just
whatever.
have to start flipping.
That is true. You might have to start seeing some flips here. I mean, we like seeing some flips on the stream. It's always a bit hype, but
It's
maybe
not me, yeah, that's-
nerve-wracking. Yeah, it's not us. Definitely nerve-wracking to get through if you are the person flipping that coin, or I guess rolling that dice here. But Evan now back into the active position with that Regidrago V-Star. We're going to see an attack here from one of these Dragon Pokemon in the discard pile. It's going to be the Dragapult EX this time around.
Yeah, and missed opportunity, I suppose, if you wanted to get the prize cards, if Hawlucha were available. 6 to the Manaphy, and maybe taking it down with the 10 extra damage would have worked out well. And you can see already.
Maybe I should build the bus station on top of that.
considering
Like,
using
why not?
this
I'm already
attack
using the
for
rail, so it might
many
as
more
well have that
times.
be a
All
bus
of these
station too.
Pokemon now lined up to be knocked out from 6 damage counters.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
getting ready to create
Phantom
something
Dive
extravagant,
is
and
a
it's like, I already
huge
have something
move in this
extravagant.
deck off that Dragapult EX. Not only are you hitting 200 damage in the active, which is a huge amount, but you get 6 damage counters to place onto your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you'd like. That's what we're seeing right now from Evan. So gonna get that knockout, gonna get these damage counters. First prize card has been taken here second prize card for Evan. Only 4 more to go to close out this game. But like you said, Kyle, it could get pretty dicey here on both sides of the field because we're seeing those damage counters be placed now on Haruku's side, as well as Evan might be worked into some of those dangerous situations with some confusion down the line.
Yeah, and of course, when you take a prize card, it leads to maybe some unfair activities on the other side. The unfair stamp waiting in the hands of Haruku. That is dangerous, as we've seen so many resources already used by Evan. No way to move the active Pokemon. You put them on a 2-card hand. We've already seen plenty of grass energies too. How do you draw out of this?
Yeah, exactly. Unfair stamp in the trading card game. Anytime unfair is in the title of a card, you know it's probably pretty good. So Haruku choosing that ace spec for this Gardevoir list specifically. And we're churning out this turn here with the Ultra Ball, discarding a Psychic Energy, as well as one of those technical machines to draw another Pokemon out of the deck in that second Monkey Dory. 2 Monkey Dory lists. That's pretty consistent now with our Gardevoir players. This list has been heavily refined here. No pun intended, Kyle, by a lot of our players. And yeah, 2 Monkey is the way to go.
Yeah, one piece that's missing now is those dark energy to go along with it.
I know.
Move these damage counters away. They're starting to stack up. It gets dangerous with the Dragapult attack.
Yeah, holy fuck, they're only, what the fuck? How long is this match
Phantom
taking
dive,
them?
so dangerous.
I'm
You're
like,
almost
why
put
is
on
this
a
guy
clock
saying
here
tune in
by the
5 hours for
Regidrago
the
V-Star
Masters?
deck. As
And
soon as those damage counters keep
funny.
mounting and you have
And then
no
I'm
way to
looking
move
up
them
and it's like,
off
this
with
match
that
has
Monkey
been going on
Dory,
for like a
thanks
half
to
an hour.
not having the Dark
And
Energy,
only 2
one
prizes
has
have
been
been taken by
discarded,
somebody.
one in the prize cards. Haruku
What
could
the
work
fuck?
himself into some dangerous situations here. The Refinement discarding another Psychic Energy into 2 more cards to the hand. The hand is pretty stacked here right now, but we're getting even more stacked up with this Arven here as well. Super Rod being drawn as the item card off of the Arven for the supporter for turn.
Yeah, Super Rod is a big help when you're thinking about the dark energy. We see the damage on the Kirlia. You need to move that as soon as you can. The draw engine of the deck needs to remain around as often as possible. And this is one way to do just that. If there's a way to search out that dark energy, that'd be great. But we'll also take this cool combo here with the Drifloon Artisan. Sign me up.
Yes, that Drifloon coming down onto the bench here thanks to that Artisan. That is our stadium in play from Haruku. Drifloon, the little balloon, it's out. It is ready here, Kyle.
We love alliteration. Time for a balloon blast.
Balloon
perhaps.
blast, baby. Balloon blast with the bravery charm. We're getting ready here on the bench for Haruku. Look at that.
The only time you want to damage your Pokemon almost to a knockout.
Oh my god,
Might as
I'm
well
gonna
protect it a little
fucking
more
freak
here
out
with
if
the
this
bravery
game doesn't
charm.
say what my
Oh, there's
fucking
plenty to
favorites
go
are.
This
Is
what
this
we're-
a joke?
Oh, we love them.
nice
We love the stretcher for the
too.
dark.
Oh my goodness, we didn't even account for that there, Kyle. Look at this right now. Psychic Embrace, bringing all of these Psychic
Is it because
energy
I'm not
onto this
saving
Drifloon
it? There's a
in active
save
position.
option
It has to take a ton
before
of
you even
damage
have to
counters,
fucking save
2 for
shit.
each energy attached here. But you want that
God, I
damage.
have to
It
go
is
fucking back
30
through all
damage
this again.
per damage counter on that Drifloon. It's got a little extra
so
HP here,
favorite.
and that is a knockout
I've got
on the
58 of them
Regidrago V-Star. It was fully loaded with energy. Now it's fully loaded into the discard pile for Haruku. That is the first 2 prize cards on the right side of our field. And Evan Pavelski is going to have to respond now, promoting that Mew EX with that free pivot into the active position. Where's this turn going to go from here, Kyle?
Well, 3 cards in hand, one of them being a Nest Ball. Probably not your favorite. Artisan to look through the deck for basic Pokemon. You don't really need that. And you have 10 cards remaining in deck. So finding a solution here seems to be pretty difficult. Of course, you have the Regidrago V-Star to help out. You need 1 additional energy, but maybe a boss's orders. If that were there, you could take a pretty cool combo knockout and take 2 prize cards, maybe get a little closer.
Yeah, unfortunately for Evan, we've had a bit of awkward turns in a lot of these hands that we've seen. The boss's orders, at least one of them, was in the discard pile. We see this one now
But it saved
in the
that
deck
one,
here,
like-
that Nest Ball being activated to check out the resources that are still available in the deck.
Yeah, it looks like this guy right here might be helping us out here. The Mew, if you can play with the low hand size, restart might honestly be your best bet, finding some additional resources. You don't want to find research or anything at this point. You'll deck out, you'll lose, we'll move to game 2. Instead, maybe you can find the exact right cards to help out, and the awkwardness of holding Energy Switch when all your energies are already where you want them.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for sure. Halucha is going to come down onto the field, though, here for Evan. It's going to allow that ability to be activated to get 10 damage counters down onto the field of 2 different Pokemon with that flying entry. It's
Sure, I can't put them both on Curlia. Just once.
Please.
Judge. It looks like the targets of choice are the Monkey Dory and the Manaphy. 2 cards to help out. One is Boss's Orders, but there's no energy to go along with this. Pheasantipity, help. There is energy to help.
Help! Can we flip some script? We got some energy here that can be accelerated down for Evan.
There's not much left. These are some pretty solid resources, of course. I believe the Ultra Ball is there in hand too, so you can search out the final Regidrago V-Star if it is there, but wants to preserve the resources and perhaps just draw right into them. If it's 4 cards in your deck, you know what you're drawing.
Exactly. Iono is going to be used here for both of our players. Shuffling up the hands, it's going to go at the bottom of that very slim deck on Evan's side.
Hey, look at that.
4 resources here. It's almost like we knew what was going to happen there, Kyle. All right, we have going through the discard pile here now, looking at all of the Pokemon that are in there that Evan is able to utilize so far in this matchup.
And you put your opponent on a lower hand size now. Maybe they're missing some resources. And there's a question, do you want to play a little more defense? You're running out of time. You could preserve some hit points. Maybe the reduction of 80 from Rolling Iron would help, but
true.
Dragapult could also just continue to draw more prize cards and target down a Manaphy. It looks like safety is the name of the game. 3 prize cards remaining, however, and there's a lot of time here for Haruku to establish a pretty big play.
Exactly. There's time, and time is dangerous when you give it over to a Gardevoir deck. 3 prize cards left to take for Evan to take this game away. After that, Rolling Iron, rolling up some biscuits in this matchup here. 80 reduction on the left side of the field, as well as that knockout. Haruku, on the other hand, taking some damage there on that Monkey Dory.
Oh, there's Screamtail hanging out in there. That's not great news if you're Evan.
It's a fancy one, too.
Yep.
That is a fancy-looking Screamtail indeed.
You have to think there's probably a way to get there at this point. If you want to take down a 2-prize knockout, you see plenty of damage on the other side. The Monkey Dory could spread a little bit. You could use Screamtail to attack and start taking a 2-prize knockout.
Yeah, at this
How do you
point,
want to go about this?
Yeah, what the
exactly.
fuck
At this
is going
point,
on
it's up
with
to
this?
Haruku to just
think
decide the
it
strategy here. We're first going to draw into some cards. Refinement is going to be activated, getting one of those Curlia into the discard pile. 2 additional cards. That Screamtail potentially coming down onto the bench here now. Roaring Scream is the name of the game for that attack there on that Screamtail. It's very cute, but it is dangerous. Don't be fooled here by that scream.
This one doesn't need a microphone. It's going to get you.
Yeah, it'll get you indeed 20 damage for each damage counter to any of your opponent's Pokemon. We saw that Iono being used. 4 cards to the hands now for Haruku. What are you seeing, Kyle?
Yeah, there's a counter catcher in the hand, so maybe you could target down a different Pokemon if you so choose here. You could establish perhaps a checkmate situation if you attack with the Gardevoir, load up the damage onto the Screamtail, but then you start to get into situations with Dragapult you don't want to get into, so.
Yeah.
What is the right way?
What is the right way? We're going to have to see where this turn goes, what Haruku chooses to do. I'm trusting this right now. It's going to be the counter catcher because we're behind in prize cards on the right side, but counter catcher is a fantastic card to have here because it allows you to pivot one of your opponent's Pokemon into the active here. That Halucha coming up here, but that Screamtail damage can go wherever.
Yeah, I like this strategy. Your opponent is running very low on resources. Force an additional retreat once more from your opponent. Take the knockout on the Pheasantipity.
Ooh.
It's less cards that they can draw. If they have the grass energy, they can't draw with it because they need to retreat with it. And Haruku is down to just 2 prize cards remaining here.
Yeah, this is huge. This is the bread and butter of the Gardevoir deck. Has these strategies enacted here in the later game. There's single prize Pokemon that are so dangerous. You have to take them out, but then you're almost walking your opponent into these future plays.
Okay, we got to think about this. Superior Energy Retrieval, boss's orders in hand. Is there a way to search to draw into the final canceling cologne? Is there enough hit points on the other side to take a triple knockout? See plenty of them here. Let's bring up Manaphy and figure it out.
This could be huge here. Boss's orders for the Manaphy here.
Energy switch leads to the retreat that you need.
Oh, look at that. The Artisan being used to look at these cards. It's only 4 cards left in the entire deck here for Evan. But if this strategy could be pulled off and there's enough damage on that side to take all of these prize cards, this could be huge here, Kyle.
Yeah, trying to line it up with the restart from the Mew. You can thin down the hand. You have to play out all the cards, and maybe it's down to a 50-50. We'll see. 4 cards remaining. Looking for maybe... We'll see the boss's orders. How low can you get this hand down? It's the Superior Energy Retrieval for just 1, I presume. You draw 3. If it's the last card in the deck, you lose.
This is huge. Let's see what this is going to be here. Restart on that Mew EX.
He found it!
The canceling cologne here coming into play. It's going to shut that Manaphy down here and allow Evan to take all of the prize cards needed to win this game in our Seniors Division Championships. Let's hear it from the crowd.
Wow. What a way to close things out in that opening game there for the Senior Division.
On the edge of my seat there, Kyle. I mean, that was a fantastic way to close things down. And you see how just that 1 copy of a card in that canceling cologne in a deck like this can make such a difference when you know how to use it. And Evan Pavelski did exactly that, playing everything smooth, steady. Even when it got dicey, we had the answers there. Let's take a look at what we just saw from this match.
Yeah, safety first. We saw immediately incorporating the Hisuian Gudra V-Star as a great attacker here with the Reggie Drago V-Star, and starting to spread a little bit of damage, but that is the power of Monkey Dory. When you can move the damage around and start to build up these big knockouts, Drifloon was prepared to deal 300 damage.
Woo!
And it got scary here. Not a lot of resources remaining. How was Evan going to piece together the puzzle from this point? He was avoiding confusion at a lot of times, and for Haruku, it came down to 1 final play. Remove Pheasantipity. Hopefully your opponent can't draw through the rest of the deck and find all of the pieces that they need. It was boss's orders. It was drawn down to a 0-card hand and canceling Cologne to do everything that he needed to close out with a Trifrost and take game 1.
Yeah, that is huge here. We see the shouting from the crowd after that win. That was an incredible game 1 between our Seniors finalists here in the championship. But we're going into a game 2. We'll see if those strategies can remain from both of these players. It was so close there. And we talk a lot, Kyle, about Legacy Star, how it could get you back these materials that you need in the later game. But that's not even what necessarily happens here for Evan. He was able to thin things down as much as possible, line up that percentage chance of just drawing into those cards that were needed at the end of that game, and everything lined up there, thankfully, for Evan to take down that game 1.
Yeah, Evan didn't even draw cool stuff off the Legacy Star. He grabbed a Professor's Research and a Prime Catcher. As basic as it gets, but it was what he needed at the time, just to continue drawing and continue finding a way to promote a relevant attacker, put pressure on his opponent, and did just that. Haruku with a fantastic play throughout there, trying to stay afloat, found the Dark Energy, found the Monkey Dory, continued to put together some pressure, but it was just a little bit too late.
Little bit too late. Yeah, we saw everything handled
I
nice
can't select that? Are you fucking kidding me?
Not enough there in the end. What do you think about that strategy, and do you think we'll see sort of a similar strategy going into this game 2 from Haruku?
I think if Haruku saw that opening that he had in turn 2, if that was a turn 1, that would have been pretty sweet. That was basically the difference in the game, having that 1 additional turn. The double buddy Poffin that led to a full board was perfect, but it was just a little late.
Yeah, to think that we got to that hand off of an Iono as well. We'll see what happens in this second game between these players. We had the fist bump. We're kicking things off here in our game 2 of the Senior Finals of our World Championships.
That was a turn.
That was a turn. We missed a whole turn here, Kyle. What are we doing here? An energy being placed down onto this Ralts. There's another Ralts on the bench here, but that's going to be the entire turn. Not a single card in the discard pile here for Haruku. That's Tatsugiri as well, and the Drifloon and a Curlia in the prize cards as well. The other side, Reggie Drago, V-Star, an Energy Switch, Switch card, Nest Ball, and a couple of supporters on the bottom for Evan Pavelski.
Yeah, we've seen that the switch could be important at times, especially if your opponent already has a good setup and uses that Monkey Dory to confuse. But other than that, both players could work with these resources. The Curly is a little unfortunate, but at this point in time, it's all about establishing a board presence. And Evan, he's throwing away some Dragon-type Pokemon, finding the energies, but are the basic Pokemon there to go along with this? You love to see the Teal Mask early on.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna love to see if it can happen here, but hey, we at least have one piece of the puzzle in this Dragapult EX hitting the discard pile. So what your strategy is, get these energy out, hopefully you can accelerate them with some Teal Mask, Ogre Pond, draw into some additional cards, thin down your deck here, get these Dragon Pokemon in the discard, and Evan is trying to get there.
What a sneaky little nod there with the, we've seen the Hawlucha just pop out at the last second. Says, you know what? Turn 2, I actually could knock out that Ralts if we work that in. Dragon Bolt could take the 6 games, sneak into 1 additional and knock that Pokemon out. So
That's
if
true.
your opponent doesn't have a great setup, this could get dangerous. Teal Mask helps out in that situation too.
Yeah, this is huge here. Drawing any more cards to the hand here could line up those pieces, especially if Haruku cannot have some answers in this next turn, not even having played a single card yet.
But it's Iono.
It's gonna be the Iono every time, Kyle, every time. So Haruku is gonna get a new hand here. Evan on the other side as well. Brand new hands for both players. We're steadying out the field.
Whoa, that's a good hand. A lot of searching in the Earthen Pestle along with Professor's research for next turn. I don't think it gets much better than that when you're trying to establish this board and start to flood the board with energies as well.
Yeah, this is dangerous here. If you're looking at this board state on Haruku's side of the field, first Nest Ball here played. Reggie Drago be out. Second Nest Ball is going to be here as well to get another basic Pokemon down. And that is pretty huge here for Evan. All right, still searching through the deck. I mean, you see these cards are flying here, looking at all the resources. We're gonna have a second Teal Mask Ogre Pond come on to the bench.
That is
already have the energy to match as well.
That's the worst thing to see from Haruku's side is, oh, he just throws away Professor's research in his 2-card hand. Yeah, I'm probably in a little bit of trouble here.
A little bit of a pickle potentially here from Haruku looking at this match now, and we still have some dancing to do. Teal Mask Ogre Pond gonna draw into an additional Nest Ball here off of that Teal dance ability.
Yeah, there's honestly not much else you need. You might preserve the resource and find a Pheasantipity at some point if you think your opponent will get a solid start off, but this is all on Haruku to show that he's got something going on.
My goodness.
Heavy Ball looking for help.
Yeah, Hisuian Heavy Ball at least can get us a resource here, allowing Haruku to get a basic Pokemon out of the prize cards, exchange it with that Hisuian Heavy Ball, and that's shuffled back up, and it's going to be redisplayed on our clear prize card screen. Drifloon was the selection there. Buddy Poppin going down now. Let's get some more benched Pokemon here for Haruku.
And that was a big nod to how the rest of this game could potentially go. If you search the Drifloon and you're comfortable with the fact that your hand might turn into something, if you need to find Tatsugiri, then you already know the hand is bad. And we're going to be in some trouble. So it feels comfortable in this spot. What else is there? Is there a Curlia to draw some additional resources? Arvin. All right, we don't need to attract customers. We already got them.
Yeah, we got him now. The business has definitely picked up here, Kyle, for sure. Arvin is huge here, getting out that technical machine evolution for Haruku. It was pivotal in our game 1, and we're seeing it come down again. Thanks to that beautiful Arvin that selects these cards out of your deck and helps out so much. We're seeing the same thing as well with that Buddy Poppin once again. All of these Ralts are being established here. The Ultra Ball being played now as well. And to think this was all off of the Iono once again from Evan's side.
Every single time.
Every time.
Just like this. You don't want to give your opponent that new hand. honestly, Haruka could have already had it. Could have already been
true.
Arvin, Kurlia's, everything ready to go, but he can't show that on the opening turn. Instead, now here we are. Yes, throw away these vital resources that you need, the Drifloon and the Gardevoir. You can find them at a later point. Right now, you have to continue to draw and build this board state.
Yeah, you can get them set up later on with some retrieval there. First refinement here, drawing into 2 additional cards after the discard of that Ultra Ball. We are going to see that TM evolution come down. Energy is already attached to be able to utilize it here. And the Monkey Dory joining the field.
Typically, you'd see the double Curlia in a spot like this. We already saw one in the prize cards, but this will be the Gardevoir this time around. Understands that we might need to put a little pressure on this time because Evan's in a pretty great spot. Shivered off all the energies to go along with it. Has basically flexed that there is a god hand on the other side.
Yes,
this could get
exactly.
dangerous.
Oh, it could get so dangerous, Kyle. We could have an incredible match coming up here depending on what happens in these next couple of turns. We see those 2 evolutions come down here from Haruku, and now we're over to the other side on Evan's side of the playing field. Regidrago V with 2 energies attached in the active spot at this moment in time. We have another grass energy in the hand as well as some ball search here. It's going to be the Ultra Ball, discarding that Regidrago V and a Nest Ball.
Yeah, and if you have a Pokemon that you specifically want in the discard pile this time, now would be the chance. You're using the Professor's Research, but if it's already there, or you feel comfortable throwing it away with Legacy Star later on, just establish this Pokemon. Let's attack this turn.
Let's get some safety moves here. Regidrago V-Star is out on the field now, which means that Apex Dragon can be used down the line here for Evan. So, like you said, Kyle, getting that consistency out there, making sure to stabilize the board here before we draw into some more cards with this hand.
Another question, I suppose, is this grass energy. You could draw an additional resource, but if you throw it away, that's not great. So let's just attach it for the turn. Maybe find another grass energy later on to draw with the TMS and add to this hand we already have.
And look at that, Kyle. It's like you predicted it here. Grass energy to the hand. Professor's Research netting us 7 more cards here. We're safe. We got the Regidrago V-Star. It has the fire energy attached, 2 additional grass energy. We're dancing on the bench here with this teal mask. Ogerpon EX to draw into additional cards here as well. And we're looking much safer with this board state. Regidrago V as well on the bench here for Evan for future turns.
Yeah, the Ultra Ball to continue to search through. Maybe a second Regidrago V-Star could be incorporated. You could start to use the Hawlucha if you can target down that Ralts on the other side that was not evolved. It's usually something you see players go for.
Yeah, we're going to see what the strategy is here. The Ultra Ball being used. 2 more discards here for Evan to search out any Pokemon from the deck. We'll have to see which one it was that went to the hand. The energy switch as well. Starting to get that Regidrago V on the bench loaded up. The Pheasantipity is here as well as that Hawlucha. We're going to get those damage pings down. That flying entry, it's flying in. It's pecking these little Pokemon on the bench here for Haruku. And you know what that means, Kyle. This is huge here. Dragapult EX coming out of the woodwork. It's being played in the Regidrago V-Star deck, but it has so much utility as you see those 2 Pokemon going down here on Haruku's side of the field, and that is going to limit us so much in this game here for Haruku. That is so much of the strategy that has now been debilitated on the field.
This is what happens when you don't search out that other Curlia there. You could have protected this Pokemon, maybe stuck around for a little bit longer, drawn additional resources. Instead, now 3-card hand, 1 Curlia to helpfully draw out of this situation. Any supporter, something to help out here would be great.
Yeah.
Dark Energies and Ultra Ball.
This is not helping right now. I mean, we do have the Dark Energy that can be placed on the Monkey Dory, but those Pokemon were wiped out here. There's only 1 damage counter on the field on that Manaphy here. We're going to see those 2 now, so that at least it's going to be able to shift these damage counters off of Haruka's field onto Evan's side with that Adrenabrain ability on the Monkey Dory.
Wise to protect the Manaphy in that spot. Another Dragon Ball attack.
And look at that. Whoa, what is happening? Flipped upside down the mind bend, coming back in as a part of the strategy here for Haruku to get past the obstacles in this game, throw some Evan's way. We see the confusion there on the Regidrago V-Star now, and Evan has a couple of cards in hand here, but now they're in the discard pile.
See plenty of potential pop-off opportunities. If you find the pink card, and there it is,
Yeah,
Prime Catcher canceling Cologne, oh my goodness.
Wow,
Hold up.
Those two in combination are so dangerous here. Evan looking at this hand that was drawn off the Professor's research. Gonna play it out here. Stay calm, stay cool, stay collected, and get through this turn. But Prime Catcher canceling Cologne is in the hands here. We're gonna see that Earthen Vessel discarding a card as well to get 2 more energy out. We have even more play for this turn from Evan.
Not only finding a way to move this Pokemon, but potentially to cash in on a debilitating attack. Removing the Curlia just in general would be devastating to limit the hand size that Haruka will see. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is huge here. Prime Catcher bringing up that Curlia here. Haruka was already behind, and now that vulnerable Curlia is up in the active position here. That Regidrago V-Star no longer confused. This is a different one, of course, from that Prime Catcher also being brought up into the active position. Dragapult EX brought to the top of the discard pile here. That's Phantom Dive, taking out the Curlia. Another prize card here for Evan, leaving Haruka with a bunch of damage on the field here now, and no refinement to be seen.
Just more energy. Does not work. You have to continue to just confuse and hope, but you know that you're not going to get away from it. There's retreating that's possible. There's the Legacy Star that can search out the Prime Catcher again. You could see all these resources. He also doesn't know that the switch was the prize card taken here.
That is true. Oh, that is brutal on top of this. At least we're going to turn through this Adrena Brain here, get some more damage onto Evan's side, try to work something out from that ability being used, and then we just see the Mind Bend once again.
Doesn't even bother flipping Pokemon around.
I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out of it here.
You're gonna see me again.
Yeah, it's flipping it now. Was confused for that Regidrago V-Star. It's upside down. It doesn't know what's going on here, but Evan knows what's going on. The Earthen Vessel, discarding that Giratina V-Star. Searching out more energy. It's just going to be that grass here into the hands for Evan. Everything is going his way right now in this match. We're going to see an additional card draw off of this Teal Dance on the Ogre Pawn. Ooh. And a nice Legacy Star as well.
Giddy up. Here we go. Legacy Star.
Ooh. Yeah, that is 7 cards hitting the discard pile. Evan is allowed to take 2 cards out of the discard now. Go into the hands here, recycle some resources, anything he wants that has already been discarded. This is such a strong Legacy Star, V-Star ability, and that's why you can only use a V-Star once per game. They're pretty good sometimes.
I think this is the perfect strategy here. The Prime Catcher lines up so well. You need to move out of the active spot. But at this point, what else do you really need? Just guarantee that both of your Regidrago V-Star are ready to attack. I think if you have both of those ready to go, your opponent can't possibly knock out both in the same turn. It doesn't line up in a two-turn clock, so energy switch seems fine there.
Yeah, Evan probably feeling pretty comfortable here. Everything going his way. Prime Catcher being recycled now for this turn. We're going to see straight into the retreat off of that Teal Mask Ogre Pawn straight away.
V-Star in there.
It is.
That's some pretty good math then.
It sure is, Kyle. Good math indeed. We're seeing these energies fly around the board here right now.
It's pretty scary from here if you're Haruka. Down to just 1 prize card remaining for your opponent. You're alone Gardevoir knockout. No pieces of the entire line left.
Yeah.
Monkey Dory in a dream.
Monkey Dory and a Dream. Giratina V-Star, a pivotal card here in the Regidrago deck. Lost Impact. We're going to see 2 energy go to the Lost Zone here, but that's going to take the knockout on that Gardevoir EX, and that is everything that has been wiped off the board here in just a few swift turns by Evan Pavelski in this matchup. Monkey Dory, all it can do is continue out here, and that's the game. Evan Pavelski is your senior champion here in 2024 at our World Championships with Reggie Drago V-Star. It's the year of the Drago, Kyle.
2024, let it be known, Evan Pavelski gets the job done. 2-0 victory, lined up beautifully. Used just about every attack he needed there to get the job done, and I guess those nerves, he didn't have them for a reason.
Yeah, didn't have for a reason. Was feeling comfortable going into this matchup despite losing it before in the tournament, but was able to take things down. Just had everything needed. I mean, played it effortlessly as well. Just knew exactly what cards to draw. We did see some turns where he was debating some different optimal solutions for some pickles that he was put in that matchup, but he carried it out flawlessly. All of the cards were there for Evan. He used his Legacy V-Star in the end there, recycling that powerful ace spec. And we got there to the win. Evan Pavelski from the United States taking down the world champion Pikachu in our senior division championship. Kyle, you happy with that match?
That worked out pretty great. That was an exciting match between both of our competitors, and you have to give it up for Haruko as well. Put on a fantastic show. The cards just weren't falling his way that time. Was trying to put up with the onslaught of pressure that we saw on the other side. Just so much speed and so much versatility. How do you get through that? You just don't this time around. And it's going to work out in a second place finish. But both these players have a lot to be happy about, and they're going to remember this for a long time.
I mean, I'll tell you what, being Haruko, this is the first time in the seniors division, and now you take in second place at the World Championships. That is a huge feat here, and with such a complex deck, such as Gardevoir as well. And you saw in that game one between those players, it was pretty long there. When you allow Gardevoir to get set up, it has the pieces to be put together to potentially take those pivotal turns, get those knockouts, but we just couldn't see it pieced together that time around for Haruko. But still, fantastic play from both of our players. Haruko, our second place finisher here at the World Championships, but Evan Pavelski, I'm sure, feeling really nice. Gonna go collect that gold in Pikachu very soon.
Yeah, let's see how Evan got there. We saw two great games as a part of this match, and it was dangerous from the jump. Knockout immediately onto that Manaphy, targeting it down with a little bit of defense there. The Rolling Iron to protect this Pokemon, keep it around. It led to this opportunity, knocking out another Curlia. Evan understands the name of the game. You remove the refinement, you remove opportunities, and it leads to opportunities on your own side. Even with few resources remaining, was able to piece together another Reggie Drago V-Star. Take the knockout here with the Rolling Iron, protect yourself, and it led to Haruko having to go with this Screamtail strategy, ignoring the beast in the room. The Drago V-Star still hanging around. 2 prize cards remaining, but they are going to stay on the board. 3 cards off the restart, and sure enough, one of them smelled really good.
One of them smelled very good. Indeed, Canceling Cologne, such a powerful card. You know, Kyle, I think we saw so many attackers come into play here. That Dragapult EX being utilized in this game 2 between these players to take those knockouts, and that was just awful here for Haruko. You saw turn after turn. Evan had all the answers here. Giratina V-Star being utilized as well to take out that Gardevoir EX, and Haruko just could not come up with the answers here. Had some confusion, but Evan had it all to take this win and become our senior champion. I'm excited to see how Evan Pavelski is feeling right now. Let's hear it from Evan down on the stage.
Thanks so much, Evan. Our casters were talking about a certain card that smells very good, and it seemed to work very well for you, Canceling Cologne. Can you tell us about that card and how it played into this match?
Yeah, so I was trying to save it to the end so I could do a Kieran play and wipe his whole board, and I was hoping not to discard it off of V-Star, so yeah.
Seemed to work out pretty well for you. Also, the casters were using words like effortless and flawless, and they were saying your play looked so clean and you really had control. Did you feel that in control?
Kind of. I was kind of scared I was going to whiff, but, you know, I guess I managed my resources well enough to win.
You sure did, and now you are the world champion. How does that feel?
Feels amazing.
Sounds like there's a lot of people out here who feel amazing about that as well. Do you want to say hi or thank you to anyone?
Yeah, I would like to thank my mom, Brayden, Ella Bella's, Julian and his mom, and the Billingers, Family Benny, and his mom. And then Martin, Earl Anderson's, and Game Related.
Thank you all so much. These families are so supportive. Evan, congratulations. We'll let you celebrate backstage. And it's not over yet. Now we have our Masters finals coming up. Casters, back to you.
$7,321 days. That's how long it's been since we first crowned our first Masters TCG World Champion. 56 World Champions have been crowned in that time. And today, we are about to crown our 57th. I'm Shay Bird, and I'm joined by Ross Gilbert, and we are going to be your tour guides here for the 2024 TCG World Masters Final. Ross, how are we feeling?
Oh, I feel good, Chan. I got to tell you, right before we get going, I've got a little story for you.
Okay.
I can pinpoint the exact moment I decided I wanted to be a Pokemon TCG caster. It was Worlds 2012 in Hawaii, long since eliminated, sorry. Standing in the crowd, we had the first ever official Pokemon TCG stream. It was the final in 2012, and I stood in the crowd, and I kid you not, this is true. I looked up at the screen and I went, I can do that. That looks like fun. 12 years later, back in Hawaii, new Pokemon TCG Masters Final, and apparently I can.
Yeah, you can, and I cannot wait to get this started. You know, the Hall of Fame is about to have a new world champion, and who would have thought it with two decks that are in the final that didn't have more than 6% of the meta share coming into this event. How do you feel about having such random, not random, but surprise decks in our final here?
I love it. I love being surprised. We do so much preparation in advance of these events,
You just
looking
walk
at
through it.
all of the results possible, results from Japan who get the format a little bit before we do, results from official tournaments, unofficial tournaments, and we had nothing official for Shrouded Fable.
No.
This is the only official Western tournament we're ever going to have for Shrouded Fable. So you do all of that prep, and then the idea of coming in and like, oh yeah, no, it turned out it was Iron Thorns EX and Roaring Moon EX. I love that. That makes me extremely happy.
Yeah, it's just super exciting as well to have two sort of polar opposite decks, right? You've got the Iron Thorns, a lot more of a disruptive deck, trying to shut down abilities and remove energy via Crushing Hammer. And you've got Roaring Moon EX of all things. No one had that on their bingo card. That's going to say, right, I want to take prizes at a very fast rate. You know, one's ancient and one's future. Two polar decks, and I cannot wait to see which one.
Oh,
fuck!
Well, I died. Juniors final, which was also ancient against future. 1-0 to ancient, sorry, at the moment. And I got to say, last time I was casting the Masters final for Worlds, it was in 2022. And here's the thing, right?
Okay.
2004, Tsujiyashi Yamato, Japanese player, wins Worlds.
Yeah.
6 years later, 2010, Komatsuda wins Worlds. 6 years later, Shintaro Ito wins Worlds. 6 years later, in London, 2022, Daichi Shimada loses in the final.
Ooh.
But there's
Wow,
a
I
twist.
suck.
Is there?
Because we didn't have the World Championships in 2020 and 2021.
Okay.
This is the 6th World Championships since Shintaro Ito's victory in 2016, and a Japanese master wins Worlds every 6 years. 2004, 2010, 2016. It's time. I'm not saying this, you know, wraps up the final. We still need to play the final, but I'm just saying there is a pattern here, and Shinosuke does have a chance to carry on that pattern today.
Yeah, he really does, and I think he's done a fantastic job getting here so far with that Roaring Moon EX deck. Very capable of throwing out damage and taking prizes at a very fast rate. But it's not going to be easy, though. This Iron Thorns, we saw it in day one, it was really lighting up the field and had a high success rate. And we've seen it in Top Cut as well, just how it performed. So, yeah, I'm sure he's going to try his hardest, but it's not going to be easy.
And here's the thing, we've already seen Iron Thorns on stream already once today. And that was a very favourable matchup, let's be clear.
Yeah.
That Ancient Box into Iron Thorns, very favourable matchup. It wasn't a 2-0 victory in the junior final. It was a 2-1. Because Iron Thorns went, well, I'm going to judge you, and then you're going to draw nothing, and I'm not even going to take 6 prizes. I'm just going to run you out of Pokemon, and I'm going to win that way instead. Iron Thorns can win literally any matchup by just going, judge. So, and this is a better matchup for Iron Fawns than the Juniors final was.
Yeah.
I still like the Roaring Moon EX deck. I think it's a great deck. I think it's got a great shot. I think it gets big KOs. But this is not going to be an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's really
What the
not.
fuck?
Fernando, I'm sure, is going to try his absolute hardest to really close the door there on that Roaring Moon EX deck. And like you said, you know, you can beat any deck if you just go judge, and you now have no rule box abilities. I'm going to announce my attack for 140 and see what you can do. And you're right, that can beat anything.
Yeah, I mean, take yesterday in the Masters, right? Jesse Parker and it was actually Fernando. They end up as the only 8-0 players after day one.
Yes.
Round one, day two, they play. Jesse gets a 2-0 victory. And then Fernando plays a second Miraidon and loses, goes from 8-0 to 8-2, losing to 2 Miraidon. So then Jesse plays Fernando in top 4, and we go, well, you know, Jesse's got this, 2-0'd him in round 9.
Yep.
Fernando lost to 2 Miraidon back-to-back. Yeah, Fernando's playing in the final, knocked out Jesse's Miraidon deck. Miraidon thinks it's got a good Iron Fawns matchup, and a lot of the time it does, but this is what Iron Fawns does. It takes matchups which should be pretty bad and goes, nah, mate, judge, no abilities, now what?
Yeah, no, I think you're correct, and that's why I'm actually slightly on Fernando's side here. Worth noting as well, if Fernando was to take it all home, he would be the first Chilean player to win a world championship here in Pokemon. That's not just TCG, by the way. That's from any game, and I know the Chilean community here is massive. We saw the noise that they were bringing here throughout this tournament. So I know it's going to mean a lot to not only him, but to the whole country of Chile as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at that Masters bracket, see how we got to the final here. Of course, we did run through the whole bracket yesterday, but you can see there, Jesse Parker had a 2-0 victory against Michael Davidson, but then fell to Fernandez Fuentes after he had taken out Ian Robb. And then we get to the finals. Sunesuke, well, yeah, 2-0 against James Goring, and then 2-0 against Raz Wolf, and yet to drop a game in this Top Cup.
Yeah, and that just shows the testament to Sunosuke's deck there. That Roaring Moon EX, quite honestly, can be devastating. You know, that Frenzy Gouger just says, whatever you've got in the active there, my friend, it is now in the discard pile, and I'm taking some prize cards. And that Calamity Storm, cannot underestimate that attack as well. Very efficient and can remove stadiums as well. But look at that momentum there for Sunosuke. 2-0, 2-0. Is there a chance that he goes 2-0 again in this final to wrap this up here, like you said, to be another Japanese world champion? As you said, there does seem to be sort of precedent for it there every 6 tournaments. Can he wrap it up here?
I think there is definitely a good chance. And SK has had, has had some very quick wins this tournament. I think it is fair to say. And look, you know, we kind of said yesterday when we were coming onto our top 8 game, we barely talked about Roaring Moon. We basically got to the top 8 yesterday without ever really talking about Roaring Moon. And the reason is, it wasn't a big deck. It's not like Roaring Moon was some secret that all of a sudden, you know, this group of big top players came. No, it was one person who, you know, is a bit of an unknown name, not one of the name players, so to speak, who just came and had a very, very good quiet run with Roaring Moon. And then we turned around and they're in the final of the World Championship. And you can see there, all of the top 8 decks, half of them were Red Drago. They're all gone now, Shay.
Yeah, Red Drago had a target on his back coming into the event, and while it was the most popular deck and had a massive conversion in day 2, might I say, and even had, 4 hit, making up half the top 8, hasn't faltered and hasn't managed to get itself into the final. Only one copy of the Roaring Moon, obviously, in top 8 here, and one of the Iron Fawns, and they have found themselves here in the final. And I think it's quite poetic, because these decks are really polarized in different ways. Fernando's deck, Iron Thorns, is much more of a disruption deck, hasn't got the highest of damage output, will look to grind the game down to a halt via Crushing Hammer, and that really good ability initialization. And then, but then over to Sunosuke's deck, that Roaring Moon couldn't be further different from Iron Thorns if you tried. Gonna throw out a lot of damage really fast via Frenzy Gouging, Calamity Storm, and let's not forget that Vengeance Collecting as well, which we saw in the junior final, can add up really fast.
And here's the thing, I genuinely think, just as a community, we basically missed Roaring Moon. So SK came along with like, you all missed this, because here's the thing, it doesn't basic same thing Raging Bolt does, and
Yep.
everyone was talking about that.
Yep.
It does the same thing Miraidon does, which was still a very unpopular pick for this weekend, but was at least on the peripheral, wasn't really on the radar, but on the periphery of the radar. These are all just big, basic one-hit KO decks, and it turned out that maybe Roaring Moon was the best among them. And look, I looked at every piece of information I could coming into this tournament. I know you did as well, Shay.
Yes.
I did not see, and I mean this sincerely, nobody was talking about Roaring Moon EX. That was not on the radar.
No, it's really interesting, and it's really interesting, like you say, because it does sort of fit that sort of aggressive deck archetype really well, similar to that Raging Bolt and that Miraidon, just does it in a slightly different way. But you know, it does have access to Dark Patch and Professor Sada, so yeah, I mean, it shouldn't really be a surprise that you see it here, because it does all those things very similarly, but like you said, it was on no one's radar.
No, it makes so much sense when you think about it, but apparently nobody was thinking about it. We do have a final coming up, but before we have a final, we've got this.
Another day in paradise, so let's play for the ultimate prize. It's a good day, a good day to win. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good day to win. Oh yeah, yeah, you win. Oh, good day to win.
Welcome to the Pokemon Trading Card Game Masters Finals! You look ready. Are you ready? I thought so. Good. Let's not waste any time then. Let's bring out your competitors, please. Welcome to the stage from Chile, Fernando Cifuentes! And from Japan, Shinosuke Yukawa! Fernando, if you were to win, you would become the first Chilean world champion here. How would that feel?
Si ganas esta partida vas a ser el primer chileno en convertirse en campeón mundial en la historia. ¿Cómo te sientes al respecto?
Me siento muy bien respecto a eso, pero yo vine al final acá a divertirme, así que a esperar lo mejor nomás.
He says he's really happy about that, but he also said, sorry, I'm very happy about that, but I also came here to have fun, so whatever happens is great.
I love that answer. All right, Shinosuke. There are a lot of Japanese world champions. Are you going to join their ranks?
これまでにたくさん日本人のチャンピオンが登場してますけれども、あなたもその一人になる準備はできてますか？できています。Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. That's a very concrete answer. We like that. Well, let's get right into this match. You can take your seats and casters. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Anna. Well, both players there, a little bit of confidence going on, and that is lovely to see. We've got potentially our first Chilean champion, and we've got the potential to carry on our run of having a Japanese Masters Division trading card game champion every 6 tournaments. Shintaro Ito did it with a huge surprise, that Mega Ordino deck back in 2016. And Tanaisuke, look, I don't think it's quite on the level of Mega Ordino, but let's make no mistake about it, this is a big surprise coming in. We've got Ancient against Future in the Juniors division. Ancient was the champion. Okay, what are we thinking here? Ancient or Future?
I'm going with the Future. I think it is Fernando's time now. I think he is able to take it all home and become the first Chilean Pokemon World Champion. But you know what? It's not going to be easy. I do think Shinosuke's deck is perfectly capable of toppling this here, and I think it's going to become a very, very close final, which, for all intents and purposes, is what we all want to see. So I cannot wait to get this one started.
Wow, we spent some time in Hawaii so far, Shay. You know, Hawaii, lots of ancient legends, lots of tradition here, and I'm telling ya, seems to lend itself to an ancient victory. I'm thinking Snesuke here is going to be taking the victory of Roaring Moon, but I agree with you. I do not think it is going to be easy. I think both players are going to have a very interesting match. So here we've got some, we've got the achievements here. So Yokohama, Champions League Senior Champion in 22 and Champions League Top 16 in 23, plus the Top 16 in Aichi in the Seniors Division in 21 as well.
And then for Fernando over the other side of the table there, the 2022 Santiago Regional Finalist as a Senior, Buenos Aires Special Event Senior Champion, the Santiago Special Event Senior Champion in 2018, and the Sao Paulo International Top 16 there as well in 2018. Worth noting, both players are currently 17 years old. That doesn't matter, they're here to etch their name in the pantheon of Pokemon champions.
Well, I think it does matter in one way. There is one important point about both these, that, you know, you see all of their achievements being in the seniors division.
Yeah.
With the fairly new masters. They're only 17. They're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
If you're a Masters Division player